Hello and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Garza and I have a really great show tonight. Um, like always, I love having artists on. I love chatting with them. This is going to be a fun one because I got a friend of mine coming on and his publisher. So this will be a really fun talk. Um, but before we get to them, I just want to share with you guys a few things. First off, for those in the Massachusetts area, I will be up at the Northeast. It's the Northeast Comic Con. May it's May 11th. No, not May. Sorry, March 11th, 12th, and 13th. And I'll be hosting 4 or 5 panels throughout the weekend. Come and see us. I got a lot of great stuff that'll be up there, not just my artwork, but the panels that are going to be there. One of them, which I'm super excited about because I'm a big Phantom fan. I'm going to be talking with Keith Williams about his time working on the Phantom. All right, and I got some other great stuff. Get in Tune, a Get in Tune regular. I haven't seen him in a while, but I'd like to get him back on. Tim Jones of Sour Grapes will be doing a panel with him and Guy Gilchrist talking about comic strips, and I got a lot of fun things planned. So if you're in there in the Massachusetts area, want to come up, this is the website. It's necomiccons.com. All right. So anyway, that's enough of little self-promotion here. So let me stop that and let's bring on the creator of Nira X. Here is Bill Mouse.
Hey,
Bill.
Mike, how you doing, dude?
Doing good. And let's bring on your publisher, Tom Doherty. How you doing?
What up,
Tom?
Thank you guys for coming on.
So that convention looks fun.
You know what? It's my
when you're scrolling through, it looked good. It looks like a good show.
It's my first time doing the show, and a buddy of mine, Mike Lopez, who I work with doing kids sections at Comic Cons and whatnot, usually does the show. He can't make it this year and recommended me to do what he would normally do, which is host panels and stuff. So yeah, I mean, we work together a lot and I'm excited to go up. It's got looks like a great group of people. I got the only reason I didn't mention is because I forgot the artists' names right now. It's a husband and wife fantasy artist pair. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to talk about fantasy art with them. And
nice.
I got I got to look it up, but yeah, I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I've heard of that show, and I'm always looking. Committed Comics is always looking for more East Coast shows, so maybe in 2022 I'll eyeball that one.
Reach out to them.
Yeah.
And I just want to say in the comments, Joe Ryan, hello, Joe. Thanks for tuning in. So before we get in and discuss the Kickstarter,
sure.
Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about you? We'll start with Bill, and then we'll have Tom tell us about you guys and anything you want to throw in. If you want to talk about a little bit how you got into comics, or if you want to save that for later, however you guys want to do it.
I don't know. That's pretty broad, right? That's a broad topic. It's like, tell me anything.
Yeah. Like, well, I had
tell me
teriyaki
stuff
for
about
lunch,
yourself.
And
I know I enjoy pizza and long walks on the beach, and I enjoy playing the guitar.
With pizza.
Don't get me started on pizza right now.
Dude. I know you had me at hello.
No, you know what? I'm going to give a little rant right now about pizza.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, you know how everybody complains about putting pineapple on pizza, right?
Yeah. It's you don't started it.
Hold on. Whether you like that or not, I don't care. But you know what bothers me, and maybe this is because I'm Italian, I don't know. But I've been seeing a lot of commercials now and I forgot which one it is. And it's people getting pizza delivery with ranch dressing.
Yeah.
Okay, man, I don't stretch all the way to ranch. I will put pineapple on my pizza, but I'm not Italian. I'm Puerto Rican. It's like I go to CC's Pizza and they make a pizza that tastes just like a taco. It's like it's not holy. I know it actually is pretty delicious. They got another one that's actually like a vanilla pudding pizza.
Wow,
I call I call it the crack pizza because it's like crack. It's like
that good, huh?
You don't think it's going to be that good because it doesn't sound like it should be a thing.
They
it's
actually out in Seattle they have 2 different types of pizza. They have a mac and cheese pizza and a spaghetti pizza. And
those things make sense to me.
Have made a mac and cheese pizza before. I've had lasagna pizza, chicken parm pizza. I mean, I've tried.
That sounds like college pizza, like mac and cheese pizza. Like sounds like college.
Just throw it on top.
But you know, like and listen, I've had it with pineapple. My wife loves it with pineapple. You know, I have no issue. But the commercial where they put ranch dressing on pizza.
I don't think I'll go as far as ranch. I don't think I'll do ranch.
I mean, I don't like ranch
relatively new. With. Yeah, that's something relatively new. I grew up in New York.
It just seems wrong. It just seems
there was no one doing that in New York. You get shot if you did that in New York. I'm just saying.
It seems like you're breaking an unspoken rule somewhere. It's you can't go that far. There's still a line in the sand. I mean,
it's a very dotted line. But it's a dotted line.
As the topic of pizza is.
Cheese pizza sounds good, Ali.
Now that we're all hungry, let's do it. Now we're all
hungry. Yes. Let me before we begin and we do this. I want to scroll the bottom way people can contact you guys. Now you'll notice on the bottom it also has for your daughter Kat, who catmouseart.com, which fantastic artist. She was supposed to be on today, but unfortunately she had to cancel.
Yeah. Right. She wasn't feeling well. I'm sorry about that.
Slacker.
Yeah. No, don't. Hey, health comes first. You know.
Yeah, of course.
I've had to cancel. I've had to cancel once or twice because I got a sore throat or something, and you know.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
I'm an editor. There's no sympathy here. I'm an editor.
There's no sympathy from you.
You know, it's just robot. Just do it.
My leg fell off, so you're still coming to work, right?
Exactly. Well, you draw with your hands. You don't draw with your feet, right? You're not an orangutan. You know what are you doing?
So, Bill, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your. Well, let's not talk about how you got into. Let's just talk about like some of your past work. You know what people know.
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah, we won't go like all the way back. It's like I'm a Puerto Rican born in New York City, and I'll start with my whole story. I did my first gig in comics was back in '92, I believe. It was a parody for Eclipse Comics. We did a book called X-Farce, and that was a book. It sold really well for Eclipse. I did 2 more parodies for them. Those are like my very first actual paying gigs. And then I'd met Don Chim was actually the writer. He was a publisher at Parody Press. Actually, Parody Press wasn't quite a thing at the time. He did the script for X-Farce for Eclipse Comics, and then he was thinking about doing something on his own, doing Parody Press. That's when Parody Press was born. So I lived in San Diego at the time. He lived up in Eureka, where he lives now again. And we both moved cross country to start a studio in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is where I live now. And we did Parody Press for just shy of a decade, just doing parodies. And then we branched off and started, because I really wanted any excuse to do a superhero fantasy science fiction type of imprint. But we really couldn't do it under Parody Press because I didn't want it to get mixed up that it was just a parody of something else. I wanted it to be so we got the license. The first license that we got under Entity Comics was Zen Intergalactic Ninja. And when we debuted the number 0 for Zen, Steve Stern and Dan Cody, they're the co-owners of Zen. Steve allowed me to put in my own characters because I was writing and drawing the book for a couple of series. And he allowed me to put all my characters into the book and still retain ownership of those characters. And that was Nira X's first appearance, was in Zen number 0. So that now it brings us, 29 years later to where we are right now, and still publishing Nira X, Cyber Angel.
And still working with Don.
And still working with Don. I'm still working with Steve. We're still working on new Zen material for this year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Don's an awesome guy. He's been on the show.
Oh, he's family.
I love Don. I hope he tunes in maybe tonight or at least rewatches this.
You said tunes in.
So
it's kind of funny because I'm looking at the screen. So I know anybody watching and sees me looking off to the side, and I'm just like, I know the camera's right here. It's right here.
You know.
I know.
Well, it's funny. I used to put it on my larger monitor, and I always to look at this way, so it always looked like I was looking off in an opposite direction of all my guests. So now I put it in front of me on my laptop screen, but I'm still kind of looking up from where my camera.
Looking sort of up. So it's like, okay, so if I was going to address you guys, I would look this way. But then it's like I can't watch myself on the show over here.
Yeah,
you're so weird. You need to watch yourself.
I know. It's like
really?
We're at the beginning stages of the live stream era. So this is what happens.
It's our egos, man. We always got to look at ourselves.
That's right. Yeah.
I know. I'm staring at me while I'm staring at me while I'm staring at you guys while I'm staring at me. Buy my book.
That's what it really boils down to.
Yes.
All of that just translates to me needing a book.
So yeah. Luckily, 29 years. I don't consider the people who buy my stuff and support my stuff fans per se. I consider them at this point. I consider them friends who support me. Mm-hmm. They've been paying me for a long time to practice and get better and have something fun and that we could do together, and everybody sort of plays their part and their role in doing it. So this is what we do for fun, and we're adults and we have to monetize everything. So that's just part of the game. But so here we are, and here I am, and pizza.
And Tom, tell us about yourself.
So I've been in comics, doing comic books for quite a long time. So either I was a retailer in New York for many years through multiple different stores, consultant for a couple different ones, managers for others. And then in 99, I started Committed Comics with my friend Alex, mostly because it was like the tail end of the 90s in comics, and that was like a really bad time that no one wants to talk about. And so
it was the dark times.
It was the dark times. I mean, that was when Marvel was going into bankruptcy. That was, like people look at that, like they hear about that time and they're like, what? I don't understand. And it's like at that point, Image even was, coming downhill from that point. So, me and my friend Alice were just complaining about the comic book industry, and my other roommate was like, either shut up or do something. It's that simple. And I was like, oh, I know a whole bunch of artists, and I know a whole bunch of retailers, and I know, let's start a company, because we were stupid. And we started doing that. And basically the concept of Committed Comics is create our own projects, and we specialize in kind of giving people who are fans of the industry into the industry. So a lot of the people who we worked with for a good portion of the company's history are people who are either they've never had their own creator-owned projects, or they've never been in comics at all, or they have minimal experience and they want to kind of just get better and put more stuff out there. And so, in addition to working with veterans like Bill, we work with a tremendous amount of other people, either their first or second run, through the block, or guys like Merton Brewery, who we worked with for years with Neo Dawn. He had worked with Awesome Entertainment with Rob Liefeld. He had colored books for Crusade. He'd done all this stuff, but he never had his own project that he his own creation. So we brought that to light for him, that was kind of, and then 23 years later, we're still here doing it.
Which is
why
great.
We're not 100% sure. It's like we said beforehand, it's like, you have to love the comic book industry in order to be in the comic book industry. If you don't love the industry and you are trying to do it, you're not going to be in it for very long. I've known lots of people who've come in and they've been very successful in the comic book industry in a financial element, and then they're gone in 6 or 7 months. And I'm kind of like, well, you didn't do anything for the industry. You're not here for comics. You're here to make a buck, go into real estate, go into car sales. Let's be honest. I mean, people who are in comics while we're doing it is because we love the medium, we love the art form.
Exactly. I've been doing this. Well, I won't say straight through, but basically on and off since '97 is when I first started self-publishing, and due to illness or day jobs or whatever, I had years where I wasn't working, but now I'm back and I'm doing stuff again, and I got some stuff that I can't announce, which I'm super excited about right now.
Super frustrated, right? Like that's the worst part.
Well, I just received a contract about an hour before I went on tonight, and I'm like, I just want to shout what I'm doing.
And from the rooftops.
Yes, and I can't say anything right now.
I've got, Committed, even as the editor, Committed Comics, we've got 3 projects that I've got working right now that I can't / don't want to talk about just yet, and
it's the nature of the beast, isn't it?
I know.
That's why there's a lot of live streams I don't do, because it's like, well, when I'm drawing right now, I'm not allowed to show anybody yet. So it's like, so I can't do a live stream right now, and it's like, so it's the nature of the beast. It's like, if you tell someone, I have to kill
you. So Bill, tell we're gonna focus obviously on Nira X today. So since you created the character, can you tell us how you came up with her, where she came from, and a little bit of history on her?
She came from a very I don't want to say a basic place, but like a very like she's an amalgam of lots of different female characters that I had in my brain at the time. Anyways, I was just looking for an excuse or a way or an opportunity to express that character. And the 90s was kind of like the beginning of like this bad girl phase, where you have you have Lady Death, you have you have, all these different characters in that particular space. And that's sort of where I wanted her to be. But at the same time, I wanted her to be like the Spider-Man, the Superman of like of my particular, it just happens to be a female character that just happens to be a sexy female character. So when I had the opportunity to introduce my own characters into the Zen book, when I started writing it, I started looking through what we had, and I started looking through like the different elements and the different assets that the Zen story already had going for it. And Zen is a great story. It's fun. It's got everything that I love about, like science fiction and but it didn't have certain elements that I was just like, oh, I can introduce her into this, because he didn't have a sidekick. He didn't have a partner. He didn't have a foil to what he was doing. He was always by himself as a character. So putting her and some of the other supporting characters that I had in my head at the time as an excuse to finally put them in print and actually explore them a little bit. That's where she came. That's where that was her origin. That was her genesis. It's like basically the opportunity came where I could finally explore that type of character. And I actually had an opportunity where, wow, this book is actually missing this one particular ingredient that would actually make it really cool. A science fiction thing that's got spaceships, it's got aliens, it's got monsters, it's got a ninja. but it didn't have like this and I wanted the bounty. She was a bounty hunter. That's the way I introduced her. But the fact that she was this female bounty hunter, and she was near 6 feet tall, and she was the badass, she wasn't the person that Zen was going to be rescuing all the time. She was on equal footing. She was on equal ground with him as a partner on these adventures. They were rescuing other people or capturing other people, so that was the origin of where Nira came from. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. And I'm looking at some of the work. When I look down, just audience knows, I have my Cinti confirming I have a bunch of art.
Oh, sure.
And I'm looking at one of the covers you sent me, which I'll show later. I just love her design. I love.
Oh, thanks, dude. Thanks.
One of the things, and this is the problem with 3 screens. I want to go click on something else here. Not like, and first of all, what I love about your covers is that they're all in kind of different styles. I don't like to force artists to do my take on the character. I really want to see what other people, what does a character look like through their lens. Yeah. And you have, and I will, and I, it's weird. I don't want to, not that it's weird, but lately I've been reading a lot more like manga. And I'm like I'm really attracted to to the manga style characters you got here right now.
Oh, cool,
beautiful.
cool,
But
cool.
the other stuff is just gorgeous, and you know, even on your stuff, it looks like you've done at least 2 different styles.
Yeah, you'll see that. Yeah, you'll see that.
And I think that's on the covers, and I think that's fantastic. Just looking at it,
that makes my day that you're seeing that, because I make those decisions in the back of my head, and I'm just hoping, I'm hoping people like it, and people, because when you put stuff on paper, it's a signature, you just, whatever's floating around in my head, I'm spilling it out on paper and hoping that people like what it is,
Well, I'm going to share, since I've been talking about it, we're going to share it. So
yeah,
see it right now. So this is the first one here, and let me just zoom in on it here.
So that is the standard cover to the issue 3. So that's basically the retail cover A style. Yeah. And
this is your drawing.
That's Bill's.
Yep.
Bill, yes. So Bill, this is yours. And then we come to this one here, which is another one like I said, I looking at the manga.
Lena Dye. She does. She was actually recommended to me through my friend Murphy, who runs Merc Magazine, and Miss Meow. And
this piece really stuck out to me. This I really love this piece.
Yeah. Why is
just the angle on it? It's like,
there you go.
I'm using my trackpad on the side here.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, because you can't do that. But Lena,
I love
incredible artist. Just visually stunning and very dynamic, which was nice.
Yeah, I love that. It's just
she's got
gorgeous.
that anime style. Yeah, she got that anime manga style that because I love that style too. It's actually influenced a lot of my stuff over the years. I'm a Voltron, Bubblegum Crisis, Akira guy growing up. So
yeah, exactly. Same here. And it's funny. I'll just tell. I don't know if I ever told you. When I was teaching college regularly, even though I love anime and manga, I used to outlaw it in my class so students can learn how to just develop their own styles.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm glad you do that. Yeah.
And because of that, everyone thought I hated anime and manga.
So, the funny thing is, for Committed Comics, when I do portfolio reviews and I take, project submissions and stuff like that, I have a bunch of people who every year at San Diego or a variety of shows that I do, they always come to me and they say, oh, this is like in the manga style. And I always tell them, I'm saying, that's not my wheelhouse. Not that I don't enjoy it, not that I don't love it, but I don't know that business-wise is a different style of marketing. It's a different customer base. It's a different client base. And I say, I don't know that base. That's not my world. Ironically, even though I'm Asian, I said, that's not my world, so I always tell them, I say, look go talk to,
you're supposed to like it.
Yeah. I always tell them, I say, go talk to, Tokyo Pop, or go talk to, TMX, or, one of the companies that specialize in that. Because I'll tell them, this is really good. This visually looks great. And the storytelling looks compelling. But, I don't know. Now, if I maybe at some point, if I get an assistant editor who is very more well-versed in it, maybe it's an area that I would branch out into. But it's just very funny that you said that you did the same thing in your classes. You didn't,
I'm glad you did that in your class. And Mike, that was very important that you did that, because when I went to school for my big associate degree, I took an oil painting class. And I kind of, at the time, because, I'm young, I'm just a punk out of high school, and I don't want to oil paint. I don't want to learn how to paint fruit sitting in a tree, sitting in a bowl or whatever, it's like, I don't want to do that. So I brought in my airbrush, because I was doing a lot of airbrushing during that time. And then my teacher found that fascinating. So they let me airbrush instead of learning how to oil paint. And it's a disservice to me years later, because right now, I would love to have a lot of those skills that I would have picked up, even though I would have hated it at the time. But those are tricks in the tool bag that I would have had all these years.
Yeah, especially
as opposed to giving in.
Yeah, especially using like a tablet, right? Because that way you could use different brush strokes that might translate to actually utilizing a different style. Digitally.
Yeah, it took me 20 more years to learn some of these techniques, and it's like I could have had it since the beginning.
Yeah, I had a similar issue when I was going for my bachelor's. I took a painting class, and I'm okay with watercolor. I enjoy watercolor, And I've always blamed Jerry Ordway's Power of Shazam for that. Like, I just had to learn how to paint in watercolor when that book came out, because I thought it was just gorgeous. And so I started painting. And then when I got into one of my college classes, they made me take a painting class. Now, outside of watercolor, I can't paint. I couldn't paint to save my life back then. And it was all acrylic. And this wasn't a class where you'd sit in and paint. You would just get critiqued. They'd say, here's a project, go home, paint something from your bedroom. And I would choose like really crazy angles. Like, I'd get on the floor and like look under my bed and set stuff up under my bed. So I had different lighting. And I thought I was being creative, right? Right. My work was just so bad. And the teacher bashed me. And she told me, she was like, you know, one day she just got up into the critique and said, Michael, it's a good thing you're not going into art. And I looked at her and I said, excuse me, but I'm an art major. She goes, what? And I said, yeah, I work professionally right now as a graphic designer, illustration. I've done animation. And I pulled out my portfolio from my bag and I tossed it in front of her. And she looked at this stuff and she was like, just like her jaw kind of dropped, you know, because she was like, oh my God, like, you know how to draw, you know, all this stuff. Then she started actually looking at my work and she's like, Michael, you know what? You have the best composition in class.
Right.
Of the, like, all your angles, everything you do, you have
what
great
I meant to say is, don't become a chef. I meant to say chef.
that was actually
she starts wheeling back.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually my second path was culinary.
But it almost
really?
Yeah.
I meant to say, don't do drywall. You're bad at drywall. Don't become a construction worker.
But the funny thing is that, like, from her perspective, I can actually see it, because it almost sounded like at the time you were trying to do more style over procedure or process, you know, like you were almost kind of jumping ahead because of the fact that you already had some of an art background, you know.
Maybe
you weren't picking up on, like, you know, the oils and the acrylics, you know, like the techniques that she was assuming that one would actually step through.
But
there's always something.
But here's the thing: the class wasn't actually you come in and paint and learn. It was I felt like you had to go in knowing how to paint, and it was more of a critique class. And that was one of my arguments with her that day.
Yeah.
I'm like, when she told me that I shouldn't go into art, I said, maybe you should learn to teach. Like, I went off on her. I said, I'm the only one in this class who's working professionally
Michael
right
with the
now.
burn.
And I said, you come in and you just critique work. I haven't learned how to hold a brush properly from you. I haven't learned how to mix colors. I haven't learned anything about color theory. I said,
if this was an episode of Star Trek, your name would be Michael Burnham.
So, like, I
Michael Red Shirt, one of the two.
I would have been a red shirt, definitely. Yeah. But that was the thing. So I went off on her, and that's when I took my portfolio out of my book bag and tossed it at her.
Yeah.
And I said, look at that.
Mike dropped.
I
said Mike again.
Yeah. And on her, you know, in terms of her teacher style, you never tell anybody to not do something. That is the 100% worst piece of advice, criticism, words coming out of someone's mouth ever.
When I went into education, whether it was, because I work with all ages, I'm still in the education field. I do a lot of like cartoon education and stuff. I have never been negative to anybody because of that wasn't my only like experience like that. I've had other teachers so I'm like, I'm never going to be like them.
You're never going to be that guy.
Although I will say this, when I am teaching college, I am the toughest you'll ever see me. And that's because my job, when I feel I'm teaching college, my job is to prepare them for the real world. Because when they leave there, they need. So if I have to be tough in a critique, I'll be tough on a critique.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, critique also is giving usable and applicable.
Well, constructive criticism is that's a whole different thing. I mean, I remember there was a couple of shows we were sitting there, and I'm sitting next to people that, and I'm not going to name names of who I was sitting next to because they're people they're higher on the totem pole than I was. But somebody came up to them and gave them an unsolicited critique, And that's usually like, ooh, yeah, don't do that. Like nobody, like if you're asking for a critique, that's one thing. That's a welcome thing. You know, it's like, you know, whether it's soft or whether you're tearing it apart, or you're asking for that opinion. But an unsolicited critique just coming up out of the blue when you're just trying to sell your wares, you know, it's like, oh, you either like it or, you know, you like someone else's stuff, keep moving, thank you. But, you know, it's like, not to have a chip on your shoulder or anything like that, like your stuff is uncritiquable or whatever, but unsolicited critiques are like, ooh, that crosses a weird line. It's a social structure.
You know what? I have people do stuff like that when I'm tabling, because I do so many kid-friendly things. You know, people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, my 9-year-old son draws just like you," and I'm like, "Thank you, thank you. He's really.
How much
talented.
does he make a year?"
Yeah, I know. I'm like, he's really talented. Thank you.
How's his 401k doing?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm 46 years old. I spent all this time drawing. You know,
I didn't work 30 years for this feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that's always the fun part. That's always the fun part. But you know, it's whatever. I don't like get angry. I take it with a grain of salt.
It's all part of the ins and outs. I mean, when I remember when I was young, I would get worked up about certain things. Like I had a character one time that I drew up on a wall at a comic shop, and it's like, ooh, his name is Life Force, and he's badass, and he's my character. I drew him up on the wall. The comic shop let me do it. And I'm a badass because I'm 16 and I drew this thing up there. So somebody came up and it's just like, oh, it looks just like Robin. Now I was just like, I was so offended, you know, but looking through the adult eyes that I have now, I'm just like, I could see it.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a mask over his eyes. That's all he needed. Looks like Robin. Looks like any of 20 characters that might have just a mask on their eyes. And like the 20 different elements that I'm sure I borrowed from like 20 different characters when I put it up on the wall, thinking it was the most original thing ever. No, man, it's like, it doesn't look like Voltron at all. This is like dogs. These aren't cats. You know,
and there's 6 robots, not 5.
I know. Ding, ding, ding. I do the Vanilla Ice thing where I'm trying to explain how the beat is like 1 beat off. I didn't sample it.
That's
so, maturity comes into play after some point.
All right, man. Let's continue on with some of this art.
We have a Kickstarter.
Yeah. So this right here is this is another one of yours.
Yeah. This is an homage cover to an X-Men. Actually, Tom knows what issue it is. I just don't know off the top of my head. It's a Joe Madureira cover for an X-Men issue that had Rogue on the cover. And it's just one of those covers that sticks in my head. I used to have a T-shirt with that big image on it, and it was just like such a cool pose. And for some reason, that issue sticks out in my mind as being a favorite from back then. So I did a couple of homage covers for the Kickstarter, just for the sake of, you know, kind of like sprucing up the event a little bit with some fun things that were, you know, not out of left field, but you know, something.
No, they were out of left field. Don't lie.
Right field.
Literally. Me and Bill.
No, this is the most original cover ever. It's my design.
Me and Bill are chatting one night. He's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I did a Cyberforce tribute homage cover. Here you go." And I'm like, "Where did this come from? Like, I'm glad it's here, but huh?"
No, this.
Yeah, I'm so glad that he's organizing everything. That I just kept on dropping stuff in his lap. Here, you organize it.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you: do you work traditional or digital? Or a combination?
I do both. I do both. Yeah. Okay. For this is a combination. I do have the original on paper for this one. Okay. I try my best. It depends on the project, but I try my best with most things to have the line art done on paper, so that way people can actually hold the original like in their hands. That this is the original piece. And then I'll do all the digital on top of that afterwards, you know, the coloring, lettering, maybe even some more line art, maybe even like, you know, augmenting the line art or whatever,
or changing the perspective a little bit.
Exactly. It's, you know, digital is just such it's such an amazing tool, and digital doesn't save, you know, because there are a lot of projects that I will do it completely digital. From pencils to inks to everything. I'm on my iPad. I'm using Procreate, which is, for some reason, that app is very intuitive to me, and it's replaced half of my Photoshop tasks.
You know,
only half of them. I still need Photoshop for like the other half.
You know, it's funny. I'm sorry to interrupt. Right before he came on, about maybe a half hour, I was talking with a friend of mine. he posted a speed drawing, and I'm like, oh, what program do you? He goes, Procreate. He's telling me how much he enjoys it. And I'm like, I think I got to be the only person in the world that isn't a huge Procreate fan.
Oh, dude, I've tried them all, and Procreate is the one that clicks. It's just that was the one that was intuitive. I've tried Clip Studio. I've tried.
I like.
There's a couple other ones. Yeah, Clip Studio. My daughter wrote Cat Mouse. My daughter, she swears by Clip Studio. She will not touch Photoshop at all.
Oh well, no, I have Photoshop, but I mean,
I gotta have Photoshop.
Well, I have the Adobe suite for the work I do. You know, when I animate all this stuff, so I do all that. You know, Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, the whole thing. But like on my iPad, I do have Procreate, but I have Clip Studio Paint on there. On my Surface, I have Clip Studio Paint on there.
Right. Yep.
And I keep a couple of the like it's basically Photoshop, Illustrator, and Clip Studio on my Surface.
Exactly.
But yeah,
well, you're keeping your workflow the same. I mean, if you're using Clip on the two pads too, you're keeping your same workflow, which is good. I mean, Procreate is exclusively on iPad as far as I know for right now. So if you're on your Surface, I mean, you wouldn't even be able to have it, and that would change up your workflow if you have to bounce between two different apps.
Well, the thing is, it's funny. I bought the Surface in end of 2019. Like I was on was it the website Slick Deals or something? I found a great deal for like almost $2,000 for everything.
It was great.
Yeah, I got it for like $1,200. And the reason I bought it is because I travel to schools and I talk to kids about comics and art and stuff, and most schools are PC based. Yeah. And the pandemic happened. And I'm like, I stopped getting invited to schools. And
imagine that.
COVID monster.
So I just spent $1,200 on this system. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with it? It literally sat. I played with it for like a day, and then it sat for like 6 months or so. And then I'm in the pandemic, and I'm like, I got to try this thing out. And after I put Photoshop on, I put Clip Studio, once I got that on there, I was like, oh, this is fun. And I felt the pressure sensitivity. Is actually better.
It's better than the iPad,
than the iPad. But the iPad, it tracks your movement faster. It's a little slower on tracking on the Surface.
And plus, I've noticed twisting the canvas around too, because like with 2 fingers, I'm twisting the canvas and zooming up and zooming out. And it's like butter; it just rolls.
I do the same thing. I could do the same thing on the Surface, being the touch monitor. I mean, I could do it on my Cintiq, but I hate having the touch on. It always screws me up. I put my arm down.
I did that too. I did that too with the Cintiq. I had to turn the touch off on my Cintiq.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Back when I was actually using my Cintiq, honestly, when I started using Procreate, I actually stopped using my Cintiq, and I saved up for so long so I could finally have a Cintiq.
Yeah,
and it's like my prized possession. It's like I can actually, color on the computer without a mouse. Because for years I was just using a mouse.
Oh yeah,
or like one of those CAD, tablet mice.
Yeah.
So to have a Cintiq was like, oh, the holy grail finally achieved. Yeah. And then Procreate came out, and my Cintiq has been gathering dust in a crate.
Oh, really? See, I use mine like every day because I have a 27-inch Cintiq, so I love the ability to just draw really large and make large strokes. Going down to a 10-inch screen.
I feel it because right now my holy grail is having an iPad that's 30 inches big on my desk.
But it also depends on what exactly you're drawing, right? Because if you're doing panel work, it's not that bad on an iPad because of the fact that you're not working on a full size thing traditionally, right? Like you're working on panel thing and that's structured down and pared down. But yeah, I can see if you're doing like graphic design or poster work or even print work, on a 10-inch would be murder.
Right now I'm drawing something that's going to go up on a 10-foot wall. And I'm doing it on my iPad, and it's for an organization that's doing it's an organization called Voices for Autism, and they're doing a bunch of really cool graphics that are it's a whole project. Well, we can get into that some other time, but it's a really cool organization. But yeah, I'm doing like a 10-foot wall. I'm doing these big cartoons and stuff for.
So are you like zoomed out like 78% every single time you're working on something?
Yeah. Piece by piece, it's like
I think that would drive me nuts.
So trust me, if I could, the give and take of that's it. If I had a 30-inch iPad, that's basically what I'm writing Apple for right now. It's like just make it bigger. Just make it bigger.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
it doesn't need to be portable. I just need it bigger.
Yeah, so there's the Cyberforce cover that he just literally dropped on me one day. Oh yeah, I got this one done. Yep. Oh great. Okay, I guess.
This was inked by Mikey Babinski. Mikey, he was a Marvel DC inker for some years. He worked on Scarlet Spider, She-Hulks. He's got a laundry list of credits. So I was super happy he was able to ink this for me. And Kat was actually the person who did colors for it. Yeah, so she had a fun time looking at reference of 80s colors plus like the original cover. Because she's like, I never would have put these colors together like this. It's so 80s. I love it.
Who did the colors on that Cyberforce cover? It wasn't Steve Olive, was it?
I do not know. And I don't have it right in front of me, so I'm not sure.
It's gonna bug me, so I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, I know. You're faster at researching than I am.
No, it is interesting how it is a nice throwback, and I mean,
all those early image books, those was like that era of 90s is what I consider that is my gateway drug into everything that I've been doing for the past 30 years. You know, as far as like when I first entered the industry, that's when all of this happened. Like, like
I could see that definitely. Wow. No, I just love it because I remember a lot of the image books. It's funny though. I was actually more of a Malibu fan. I got you. Yeah. I like the Malibu heroes a little more than some of the Image stuff. When Image first came out, and I'm not knocking them for anything though, but it was a lot. What I remember is like just a lot of like pinups and action shots and all this stuff that I felt in the early books. Some of the story really didn't. It was just like, look at me be a superstar and draw all these muscles popping when I'm like...
it's 3 panels per page forever. You know, it's like, it's like everything's a splash page, everything. Yeah, that's true. Everybody talked about that.
But I think it's mostly historically, it's because of the fact that the reason why all those guys left Marvel was because of the editorial control and the editorial interference they're running into. So it makes complete sense that when you now have an open playing field, you're going to do what every editor... You know, me being the bad guy, every editor would basically say like, "Hey, rein that in. Don't do as much as possible." Which
it's like you're overcorrecting a car. You know, it's like you're spinning this way for so long. You want
to, part of me looks like looks great.
Chet,
but at the same time, what up, Chet? But at the same time, there are also times where I'm just like, I look at some of those books and I'm like, wow, there's no cohesive storytelling, guys.
Yeah,
I guess it's
just from pin up to pin up to pin up. Yeah, a lot of books were like that. There was a lot of issues that were pin up to pin up.
Yeah. So
that's kind of a signature at the moment. Yeah. It's true.
Joe, the colors were done by Joe Chiodo, which is interesting enough. Mm-hmm. So I did not know he did the covers on that. I thought it was Liquid at the time, but no, I guess not.
You see what happens?
Right.
So let's go on to the next cover here.
See.
And that's this one here, this nice chibi piece that I liked.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, I really like this piece. This is a super cool piece.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I did when contacting different variant cover artists for the project, for this Kickstarter, was I wanted to find people who style was complementary to Bill's, but not similar to Bill's. So everybody that we have, you can kind of see like, their rendition of Nira, much like Bun's cover here and Lena's cover, it can easily fit into the world of Nira, but it's not it's not a mimicking style or an homage type style. So I mean, it's very similar to what Mirage Studio did back with the Turtles after Kevin, Eastman stopped doing the artwork and that kind of stuff, and and so like they found guys who, like Eric Talbot, who were like very good artists in their own right, but their style you can easily see in that same universe. And so that's kind of what I did with
same kind of wheelhouse.
Finding the same kind of people for this Kickstarter. So and I was just happy they all said yes.
I love everything I've been seeing. Being an artist, I'm just a fan of so many different styles, I could just look at stuff and get excited. And this is one of those that, you know, now, did Ben color this too, or
Bun? Yeah, so Bun did everything.
Sorry,
yeah,
Bun. I'm thinking Ben is someone else I know. Sorry.
Yeah. So Bun did everything, and it was and he turned it around actually relatively quick. He was the first cover artist to turn in stuff, so I was kind of like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, no, I like it.
You know, from an editorial standpoint, that was a thumbs up for sure. But yeah, no, he just did a beautiful job on this. And then also one of the many stretch goals that we've unlocked is a nira sticker art that Bun did as well in a different style. So again, very similar type of style, but not quite as chibi as this piece is.
Okay.
So
yeah, very nice. I like, you know, I'm just like, when I look at this stuff and I look at, you know, and this is definitely more anime, I would say, than manga, even though manga's print. It's just, to me, manga is more black and white with hatching and stuff like that. When I look at it as more of, this is almost cell shaded more, which to me says anime.
Right.
But I just love how he did the muscle right here on the shoulder, that little line, and then the shadow to show there's a little definition. And I'm just like that, I keep going to that shoulder right there.
And what also caught my eye when he did this and he turned it into me was the complementary colors of the background and the foreground, but they don't blend. They're still different enough. There's still enough contrast between them that the foreground character still pops.
Yeah.
Even though
she pops out fine. Yeah.
You know, because normally you would have to achieve that by doing a darker background or using, you know, negative colors to the, you know, instead of complementary colors, and somehow he pulled it off. So I was just like, good job.
I love how chunky she is. She's just like, it's so cute.
She's a little chunk,
little chunky.
And coming up next is the first time people are seeing this.
That's right, debut.
Is this a scoop?
This is the debut.
It's a clean scoop.
Yep, we just have the line art here. Let's talk about this piece.
Because we literally just received this today.
This is gorgeous.
This is by the amazing Ale Garza, and wow, yeah. This piece is amazing. He brought his A game to it, and I really appreciated that he wanted to be a part of things. We were together back in the old days at Entity Comics. He was doing a book called Fem 5. And you'll see his work. If you look up his DC stuff, you'll see that he's got a laundry list of credits to his name.
But Fem 5 sounds very familiar to me.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I might have read it or just recently seen it in like a bin at a comic shop.
That is let me see. Oh, make sure my phone pops up the way it's supposed to. Here we go. But yeah, that was we did. I don't know how many issues of it we actually published back in the day. Granted, I wasn't in charge of publishing back then, and well, I'm still not. But that was Don Chin's area of expertise, juggling all of us shenanigans.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was back in the day. That's before he was doing all of his DC stuff and all of his you know, Batgirl and Teen Titans and all the other good stuff.
Man, I love it.
Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, like literally, it's fresh out of the oven today. So this is something that's going to be colored probably over the next day or two, and then Tom's going to add it to the Kickstarter as an add-on.
Yep.
Okay.
So that way people have an opportunity to get it without having to go through the complex thing of like changing a tier or changing anything up. It's going to be strictly an add-on, so that makes it easy to go ahead and pick up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love his treatment of the whole character. I love the way he's got the headpiece, like the way it's kind of like sharp and it's like way bigger like that. But I love the body style.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I love. Hold on, let me just get to the right screen here. I really love the twist of the arm. Right here.
Yes.
On this arm, right, and how her hand comes down to hold the gun. Like this part right here is like my favorite piece.
That's bomb right there, right? That's just like that's
it's a
dope.
nice composition. And it just kind of sticks out.
It's one of the only people that actually drew her with her skirt, because she usually, if she doesn't have the wings materialized behind her, floating over her back, she usually has the skirt. And that's her spawn cape, so her cyber skin, I mean, her costume changes all the time, which was another aspect of the character back when we first started with her and started kind of nailing down what her powers, what her attributes were. I was still married at the time, so I would always run this stuff past my ex-wife. It's just like, would it be cool if you had this? Would it be cool if you had that? And she's like, no, this would be dope. No, that would suck. It's like she's kind of like my sounding board, like to make sure that. So nowadays, my daughter is kind of the sounding board for my female characters. She's like, it's like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And she's like, I would never have this. And or like with Nira's powers, with her cyber skin, she could change her suit, like kind of like a little bit of Venom Wetworks style, with the way her costume works. And she's like, yeah, she should be able to change. Like when she's pissed, she should look a certain way, and when she's happy, she should look another way. Woman's prerogative. Like I'm going to look different, not exactly the same every single time. So that's a lot of Nira's attributes are based on that. So
Chet's asking who's doing the colors.
The colors are. This is going to be a family affair. I'll be doing the colors myself. So this is kind of like a family reunion, an Entity Comics family reunion of sorts. So I'll be doing the colors myself. So hopefully the next day or two, I'll be able to have that up on the site so I can show off to everybody.
Yeah, that's great.
That's what I'll be concentrating on.
This stuff, we've just seen the covers, and I'm already excited.
Yeah,
about the book. All right, now I will admit, I don't have any of these issues. All right.
It's all good.
Hold on. George Medina just popped on. He says, "What up, all? Great image." So
Thank you,
George
my
is
friend.
over at Catch the Craze, you guys. Another great podcast.
Nice.
Cool.
So
thank you so much, my friend.
So
it's making its debut right here, right now.
Debut. This is it's a TOON scoop.
So let me minimize my Photoshop here. Now, like I said, I've never read any of the issues, but after just looking at the art, going over your Kickstarter to prep for the interview, I'm like super excited for this.
Oh, that's good.
I've known about the character through talking with you, Bill. Like you've mentioned the character. I've seen images and I appreciate your art. I really like what you do, but I've never actually read your stuff yet. Right. So now, I'm really excited.
Cool.
Super,
that's very
super
cool.
excited. So let me just share the screen. Let's get the Kickstarter up here.
There you go. Cool.
And while we were chatting, I just added some more graphics and different images that I've been trying to work on throughout the day because, I'm only doing 8 million things at once.
Now
we're so close.
I know, so close.
Yeah. Well, listen,
to the next
16 days to go. You guys are doing amazing. Now, this video here, it's about a minute video. I'm just going to explain because what happens for some reason, StreamYard on a Mac gives sound issues when I try to play. So I don't know if people will hear the sound, but it's just beautiful imagery. I'm going to play it. If you guys don't hear the sound, don't worry. It's just instrumental music, which, by the way, reminds me of the X-Men theme song from the 90s. So
a little bit, right?
Yeah, there's something like at one point I heard and I'm so you guys
hear a
just
snicked in the background.
Just for the sound, if this doesn't play.
Yeah, just for the sound. And then everyone should go to the Kickstarter anyway.
Yes. Yeah. I'm saying just for the sound, go and watch it. You didn't let me finish. You got to go and watch this. Uh-oh. What happened? Close.
StreamYard, what have you done to me?
Yeah.
Well, at least it stayed on the thing. It says join us today, so I'm good. It's like join us.
All right,
today.
let me get out of that. If it plays again. I'll pause it. Did you guys hear the sound or no?
I heard some sound. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
AOL dial-up chat says. That's what it feels like these days. But let's check it out. So first of all, you've surpassed your goal, which congratulations on, and you still have 16 days to go. Now, you've talked a little bit about Nira X. Can you tell us a little bit about the story, what we're going to find, not just in this comic, but the other comics, which, by the way, if you haven't read, it is part of your backing, one of the backing tiers, you can get all the comics. So can you just give us a little story of what Nira X Reborn is about?
Nira X Reborn it's a good jumping on point for the character because she's really kind of starting from scratch. Her origin starts off. She comes from a timeline that just does not exist anymore. She has a brother who was a very well-renowned scientist, and his fear of dying. He just didn't want to die. He never intended to be a villain and never intended to be basically Nira's nemesis in the overarching tale of her life. He was just afraid of dying, and he was always playing with temporal mechanics and coming up with different propulsion systems for the military that would allow them to, go basically working on what their version of warp speed would be. And it was something he called a temporal drive. So instead of like a warp drive creating a bubble that would let you, slip through space extra fast, he would slow down time around the ship so that the ship would go vast distances, essentially not taking any time to do so. Mm-hmm. The real reason he came up with that system was so that he could manipulate time and manipulate the way he would travel through time. His plan was to live out each one of his lives one at a time throughout the multiverse, all the different versions of himself, so that essentially he would never die. He would find like sort of a key to immortality. It's a cheat, it's a loophole, and he would live out each one of those lives individually, never die. He didn't suspect that all of his other selves in these other realities were doing kind of the same thing. So, and your different selves in different realities, some of those different selves of yours, some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are gray in between. So what happens to him is that a lot of thousands of different versions of himself, instead of living out their lives individually one at a time, they all merge into one being, into this psychotic being. And we call him Paradox because he's a 90s character. We got to have the cliche of naming him appropriately for what he actually is. So Paradox is this big purple hulking figure. He's just a chaotic figure, and in his mind, he's always one version of himself or another is always fighting for control because there's thousands of him fighting for control over this. So he's just chaos. And then there's other versions of him that are good, that are trying to actually make up for the mistake of what they tried to do and the damage that they all tried, the damage that they all caused, which erased her entire timeline. And who knows how many other timelines, was collateral damage in the middle of this. Nira, being his sister, some of those kind of evil, kind of gray versions of himself was basically saving her as a failsafe, as a weapon of being able to take him down if things went wrong. So that's where she gets her powers. And she's sort of built like a video game character, because since her powers are based on her gaining energy through the passage of time, so she's almost like, if she uses up some energy, like a video game character, you wait a certain amount of time, the health bar starts building up, and she's at full power again after a certain amount of time. So that's where she comes into play, and she's tethered to this Paradox character. So if this Paradox character emerges somewhere, she gets ripped through time to wherever he is against her will, in order to try and stop him and put him back in the box, essentially. So that's where her story kind of starts. And she's been published, through a couple different publishers, a couple different takes of her have been in print. I've drawn a timeline of how her life goes through different publishers, and it's just we can't take the book too seriously. It's not a deep, deathly, like it's going to make you cry drama. There you go.
Hold
there's
on
the
one
timeline
second.
right
Let me give you the full screen for that so we can
there
see
you there you go. There's her timeline.
Nice.
There's your timeline.
So
yes,
I like the chaoticness, right?
Yeah, it's right there. It's like right between all those publishers. So we can't take the book too seriously, and the book doesn't take itself too seriously. But these are the cliche elements that are driving the characters forward. Yeah. So in the current story, Nira X has basically awakened in this new world. It's Earth. Yeah. But it's different. It's a mix of different time eras and different. So she's not traveling through time for this series.
It's almost like time has already traveled to her unexpectedly.
Yeah, the Earth that she's on is a mixture of a lot of different things. So you might have Count Dracula's castle right next to an old west town, right next to a futuristic town. It's like it might be a mixture of things.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And that's
an excuse for Bill to draw whatever he feels like it, and let his ADD take control.
It does lend to that. It does lend to that. And then the good versions of her brother that are trying to make up for all the damage that he's caused, he's created this Earth. He's and not created it from scratch. He's pieced it together from bits and pieces of different timelines and different Earths that he's been able to rescue. It's basically a wildlife reserve for everything he's been able to stitch together and save. And it's his job, it's his penance, it's almost like his life sentence to maintain and run this world and make sure it keeps running. So at least these people have a life. And in the middle of it, that's where Nira finds all of her adventures, is traversing this world and figuring out what's what, where is she? She still needs to learn what has actually happened. What is this world that she's actually on? So the first nemesis or the first character that she has to deal with is a character named Thalia. And that's that evil, demonic, vampiric character that you see in some of the interior pages that are up on the screen right now. Mm-hmm. And she's a mixture of a couple of different things. And she's confused and she's powerful, but she's also this close to bonding with some of the Cyber Angel technology that Nira has that might actually make her even more powerful and more of a problem. So that's why Nira and these two other Cyber Angels, Mercy and Allura, are trying to stop her and trying to put her down, because right now she's terrorizing a town that's close to this place where she's residing. She has kind of a castle, kind of like this rundown. It's a ruins. It's the ruins of what used to be a castle, and she's a problem. She's a storm in the middle of the night. So for her to get a hold of this technology on top of everything else is a problem. So this is going to be a huge fight between these cyber women and between this character that and it sets the tone for where the series is going to go from here.
It's funny because I love drawing sci-fi and fantasy, and just listening to you talk about this just makes me want to go draw right now. Like it just sounds so fun. It just sounds so fun. Like I want to just start drawing these weird sci-fi fantasy type of characters.
And I didn't want to mention because there's a character that's kind of a surprise in the middle of everything. But she's on the cover. No, she's on the cover. She's on the cover.
Yeah, but don't tell people that, because then
it's actually it's the whole gist of the story. Nira has a doppelganger from another one of those worlds that she believes she's actually the real Nira X. She doesn't think that she's the evil Nira X. So from the reader's point of view, because her name is actually Evil Nira, so you might want to guess which one is Evil Nira and which one's good Nira. But from her perspective, she's just kind of like, well, our regular Nira is more of the Clark Kent Superman as far as morals and as far as like how she handles things. She tries really hard to not kill people or do bad things, whereas Evil Nira is no nonsense, all business.
Frank Castle.
Yeah, you're if you're in the way, I guess you got to go. It's one of those. She's got a job to do kind of situation.
Yeah, very black and white mindset.
Exactly. So I like playing with a couple of different themes at the same time with this story, but and seeing where it's going to push after this, because we still have to deal with where she is, where is Paradox, what's the deal with her world, how big is her world, and I think you'll find that
things can build draw, just
exactly the world lends itself to me doing what I feel like doing, which is every creator's that's what every creator likes to try to do, is like play towards their strengths. So I like to be very random, and I like to draw things out of the blue. If the next series has a dinosaur,
don't say anything about the next series. Don't say anything about the next series.
I know. If it has a T-Rex right in the middle of it, I have to have a plausible reason now as an adult to have that darn thing there. So it's
and then I got to figure a way to market the damn thing. Thanks, Bill.
Well, actually, Tom, I wanted to ask you, since Nira has been through a few publishers, how did Nira get to Committed Comics?
So that was actually very weird and funny, and it's literally like it's one of those stupid scenarios that ironically it's actually happened to me twice now. So what was it? 2003, I think. 2003. No, I'm sorry. 2013. 2013. No, 2013. I was in Artist Alley in San Diego, and I was next to you. Because and then me and Bill were talking, and Bill was like, Nira's 25th anniversary is coming up in a couple of, in like a year or two. I really want to do something with the character again. She's been out of print for such a long time. I haven't, we're busy working on other stuff. I really like to do something. And I kind of looked at Bill and I'm like, if only you knew a publisher.
And what did you swindle me with? There's a bag of what?
Cheetos.
Thank you very much.
Flaming hot Cheetos.
So basically, these deals are made on Cheetos. So if you tell me that this other person was also Cheetos, I'm going to be a little offended.
No. But so basically, what it was is Bill wanted to do something, and I'd already been a fan of Bill's work from Parody Press time frame. I had a bunch of that stuff. Actually, I believe I actually brought you a couple of the things to sign actually at the show. So I was like, "Oh, hi, Bill. You want to sign these things? Okay, yeah."
I'll sign them for Cheetos.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm at a show. It's San Diego. We're there all day, and we're starving. So
we're dying. So we get very weak. Weak-willed at that point. So that's pretty much how it became. I already knew about Nira. I already had a bunch of the books in my own personal collection. And then when Bill was kind of like, "Hey, I want to do something," I'm like, "Well, let's do something." So we kind of came up with the idea of doing an omnibus, a big ass graphic novel that collected a whole bunch of stuff, which then ended up being the Ground Zero.
Let me give you the screen.
Yeah,
hold on.
There you go.
The Ground Zero.
Wow.
Graphic novel, 306 pages of story and art.
Nice.
But instead of just reprinting stuff and being like, "Hey, everybody who knows who Nira is and those who don't, you bought this in the 90s, buy it again." Bill actually went, and because we also knew we wanted to do the Reborn series, he actually drew new story and art to bookend the reprints, to explain why you're looking at reprints.
Exactly.
And then the last the story page is the first sequential page of the new series, which is nice. So,
nice. I like that.
Yeah, so the last sequential page here is part of the first page of the new series, which is fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, we wanted to bookend it like that, so that way all of the reprinted material in the middle, you're seeing it from Nira's perspective. This is like we start with a brand new story, and then Nira as a character goes into a flashback where she actually relives all of that material in her head. And because it's a version of her from the future that gives her there's a belt that she wears on her leg that's kind of contains her cyber skin and her suit and all that sort of stuff, and that's what bonds with her. And she goes back in time and gives it to her younger self. And when her younger self has it, we jump to all of the old material. It's a flashback. And then at the end of the flashback, we're back to the younger character again. And then we pick up from that moment. So it's a good jumping point for the series. And I'm glad we did it like that.
Yeah. Now, I'm sorry, is that book still available?
It is still available. It's actually an add-on on the campaign. So basically, in 2014, when we came back to San Diego, we did a Nira X Ground Zero preview book that had one printing solely for the show. So we literally did I think we did 35 to 40 copies, and that was it. And that thing sold out right away. To the point where we were like, okay, cool. There's interest in this. People want to see Nira come back in the print. Then it took a while because none of these files. This is actually the funny part. None of the files in Ground Zero, Bill told me, were digital.
I had to scan. I had to scan the actual physical book. It was unfortunate because when I owned the imprint for Entity Comics and for Parody Press, when I was handed the keys to the car, so to speak, all of the archives that were on disc were lost. So I was never given any of that material. So I have the imprint, but no actual material. And it's just an unfortunate thing that I was just told they were gone. We couldn't find them, and it's just one of those things. So nothing we could do about that. But I went ahead, I scanned all the pages, and then purposefully distressed some of the pages because they're supposed to be memories anyway.
Yeah,
and they scanned they're fragmented memories anyway. So along the edges of the pages, you'll see like distressed wrinkles and little splatters and things like that. And the pages actually scanned really well. So I was surprised how well it came out. But then and then adding the distress thing to it really made it unique. So I was like, oh, this actually looks good. It's like it looks like creatively we did this on purpose. It's like I lost those discs on purpose.
Yeah. The best part is now is we have it digitally, so we can reproduce it. But yeah, this Ground Zero is available as an add-on. It's also available. So we also have it as digital add-on. And one of the digital stretch goals that we unlocked was that very limited print run of the San Diego preview book. So, if for all the people who have gotten the digital tier, they're actually going to get a PDF copy of that. I think it was 12 or 14 pages book with a couple pinups, a bunch of different covers. Most of the stuff actually made it into Ground Zero, but they're actually, the funny thing was, Bill, I was actually looking at the PDF a couple of days ago, and there's 4 pages that never actually made it into the big book that we did.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, but it was funny because it's funny because it actually makes that version, again, it's 2 or 3 little pieces that you can't, get anywhere else, just small little bits. So it is.
Well, that's the same sort of concept with because we do. I do artist proof editions of some of these issues on my own. It's just studio editions that I do for myself that I sell at shows, or I just have a small. I usually print 100 copies, 150 copies of. And it has its own cover, and maybe 4 or 5 of the pages on the inside of the book are different some way, or there's a reader section, or there's gonna be something differentiating the books. But yeah. So I see what you're saying there. So
yeah.
So why don't we start looking at some of the what people can get for backing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited for this. I'm honestly deciding what tier I'm going to be backing you guys at, because this is something I need a copy of. And I was going through them earlier, and it's like, man, so many good choices. So many
options,
here.
Yeah. But the nice thing is that majority of them, the covers and the different images and stuff like that, are available as add-ons. There are a small handful that are only available as tiers, mostly because of the fact that every once in a while I do like to give people hard decisions to make, and you have to pick your favorite child. And
hey, guess what, guys? Guess what? We just hit 15,000.
What?
Well, I hope it came from people watching on the show. Let me do a quick refresh.
Thanks so much, guys.
No, I don't need to refresh. 1510. I hope this came from tonight's show here, guys.
The supporters and fans are the ones that make this happen, dude. It's we're just here to have fun and do like-minded things with you guys. So this is amazing. So we hit 15. So we're closer and closer to unlocking some more stretch goals before we get to the end. And I have to remind people too that this is exclusive to Kickstarter. We're not going to jump to Indiegogo afterwards and have it in demand or anything like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Once the campaign is done, you won't be able to find this event anywhere else. This is basically it. Yeah. So whatever overstock Tom might actually print as a publisher, going to shows and things like that. Those will be the only ones that are considered first print from this series. Yeah.
Good to know, because that was going to be one of my questions. If after this is over, you're going to head over to
mostly because of the fact that I am too stupid to figure out Indiegogo right now. So
it's just new. It's just something we haven't done quite yet. But I mean, eventually we'll be able to do that too. I mean, right now it's we're a 3-person operation. Just being creative.
Honest, 2 1/4. Alex really doesn't count much. I don't care if he's useless. He's a slacker.
So
as long as I get half of whatever's on the screen at the end of the day, I'm good.
So, but
I gotta feed the dog.
Yeah. So we've got a bunch of different tiers. Again, even if just for $5, you get a PDF of the third issue. $10, you get all 3 issues. Why not?
Yep.
Now let me ask you: when you come over here, $10 for the physical copy, are the digital copies included in that?
No, you can add on all the digital bonuses for $5, which will get you a digital copy of the third issue. If you did want the whole series, it's $10. But if you add on any of the digital tiers, whether it be just the $5 issue or the $10 series, you also get all the digital stretch goals as well.
Okay.
So, and again, I'm trying to add more digital stretch goals in there, but it's just difficult because the way my brain works is I'm more of a tangible physical guy. And so I'd much rather produce things for physical rewards.
No, I completely understand.
And so I'm struggling with that, which is one of the reasons why when I came across that PDF of that print run of the book, we did one print run. I was like, I can offer this. Okay, yeah, let's offer this.
Yeah.
So
now is this because I see here physical reward near a sticker day. So is this one of the stickers that you were mentioning earlier?
Well, that was for people who were here for the issue 2 Kickstarter. That was an oversized foil sticker that we offered, that image, that line art. But then Kat painted on top of that line art to make it look different. So what Bill did, and again, just throwing more covers at me randomly, one day he was like, hey, I decided to color the image that we use for the sticker and throw it on the cover. So here you go. And so that's all Bill artwork now. Not a collaboration anymore. He got stingy and he was like, I can do it too. I can make cool.
So I wanted her sticker art to be unique to that, so it's like, I actually want to see that sticker art again. It's like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, that's, so that's, and again, we just also wanted, because of the fact that was an image we had previously used, I was like, hey, let's just make this the first most cost-effective, affordable, variant cover,
Right.
So it's only 15, whereas the majority of them 20.
Yeah, this one here, I don't think I had the artwork to that one. I really like the pose on this one. I don't want to skip Bun. I mean, Bun stuff, fantastic here.
But like I said, I was so happy, one, that he turned it in ahead of schedule, and two, that when I mentioned it to him, because originally I was just going to have to do some sticker art for us, and he was like, hey, but I'd really like to do a cover, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, this cover right here is actually pretty special. That's Andrew Mangum's cover. Also, in the interior of the book, his son Gabriel has a full-page pinup in the book also, and he's been a fan of the book for a long time, and he was just super happy and stuff to actually be on one of our covers, and I was like super excited to see how the cover came out. There's one of the elements that's on his cover is not on. It's not really mentioned anywhere else, but Nira is actually holding her father's sword in this cover, and that's part of her lore. That we'll be exploring some of that. Her father has this sword that has this round. I call it an accelerator. So it's when he activates it, depending on how quickly it spins, what kind of energy it's putting out, the sword actually becomes blunt or becomes sharp. So he can actually. So they're Nira and her father. Like I said, our good Nira is more of a Clark Kent, Superman morals kind of person. If anytime she has the choice to be, so if she turns on and hits you with a sword and you're unarmed, it's probably not going to be in sharp mode. This is probably going to be in blunt stick mode, and shocking you half to death. But
yeah.
She'll go Batman. She'll go Batman on you with the sword, but not really cut you in half. Unless there's a true necessity.
80s Batman, not 30s Batman. 30s Batman. 80s Batman.
You got to see which arrow. Yeah.
There's a little asterisk at the bottom. But yeah, no, that
he did a fantastic job with that cover, and he's such a great supporter.
Yeah.
And,
I like it a lot.
Yeah. His energy, it's like, has really helped Nira to come back and be who she is in everyone's eyes. So I really appreciate him.
Yeah. Oh, this is great stuff here.
We
saw that cover.
And then Cat's nude cover.
This is Cat's solo nude cover. Unfortunately, it's well, not unfortunately. It's just it's an all digital piece, so it's not on paper. I don't have an original.
Yeah. Does she work primarily digitally, or
not primarily? She does both. She actually she's quite the painter too. She really is like the 2.0 because she embraces a lot of different techniques, and she's really excelling at them. She's learning at the geometric rate. So this particular piece is it's all digital and painted.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep.
This is nice. There's one of your nudes here.
There's one of my nude covers here, which is I know, right? Yeah, pervert.
Perverts. So
just so everybody knows, my daughter is 24 years old now. She can draw. I can't stop.
Yeah, I figured.
And it's like, hey, Bill brought his kid on.
Well, when I first saw this, I was like, should I ask him, how does it feel to have your daughter draw your characters nude? But I decided.
Well, she draws some crazy cool pictures. She loves anime. She loves she loves drawing like Bakugo from My Hero Academia.
Yeah. And
her digital painted pieces of him, like fan art type of pieces, they're crazy cool. It's just like I can't even touch some of her digital stuff.
Are they on her website or something, or on her Facebook?
Yeah. She's got some samples and stuff on her website, and she's got all of her social. If you just put in Cat Mouse Art, probably as one word, maybe it's like you'll find her on Instagram. You'll find her on Twitter.
Yeah, because I did check out her. I checked out her Facebook page of Cat Mouse Art, and I checked out her website. Now that she's on, and now that you said Instagram, I got to go look and follow her. I love her work. It's gorgeous stuff.
It's very different. It's very nice. It's very different.
That's that's the thing. Yeah. You would think that. She started maybe taking cues from me because I'm here. She really found her own. She found her own path and her own way of doing things, and her love for it is just it's because she loves it. It's not because I'm doing something Dad likes to do. She's doing it because she loves to do it.
And you can see the anime influence in her. Like even just
for sure.
Look at that face right there.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Yeah, very much.
So. Yep, that character doing crunches.
My nude underneath it is a pencil drawing. It's actually a pencil rendering that I digitally colored on top. So that's
nice.
That's how
I actually like that look a lot of times. Cool. I picked up a I don't even know where it is right now, but in old an old comic. You might get a kick out of this. Let me see if I can just pull it out real quick. I think it's in this pile behind me. Mm-hmm. And this is, before computers. Coming into
the dark ages.
But, you did some work for Eclipse. I don't know if you remember this. Here, let me give myself the full screen so you could see it.
Yeah.
The Contractors.
I don't know.
Gotcha. That looks familiar.
I picked this up at a comic shop. Just everyone knows my local comic shop, the Spider's Web in Yonkers, located at 887A Yonkers Avenue, across from the casino.
The Yonkers Raceway.
Yeah, well, I always had to pick. But this is before computers, but it looks almost, it's inked, but the way it's rendered, sometimes I can't tell if they, it's a wash, but sometimes in some pages it looks like pencils were part of the rendering process.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. I like it when they mix it in like that. A little bit of mixed media.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of that with not just like that, but I used to just mix things up when I was working for Avatar Press for some years. I would take the black and white line art, and I always think my stuff doesn't look quite finished unless it's colored or shaded or there's something extra kind of done to it. As opposed to somebody like Art, like Arthur Adams. Like when I look at his black and white stuff, I'm like, don't touch it. It's done.
Yeah,
it's perfect. Right. I look at so I used to take the line art, and because this is like pre-decent computer for me, I would go to Kinko's, make 8.5 by 11 copies of all my 11 by 17 originals, and then on the 8.5 by 11s, I would pencil shade the crap out of all of the line art. And then I would turn that into Avatar Press as the finished art for them to print. So I had all this gray shading and stuff with the pencil. Yeah,
yes.
It was a really nice, I love like animal characters. I had my plunger pup character and stuff that I used to draw all the time. So when I saw that, I was like, this is great. But you're not allowed to open to look inside. So I kind of had to guess. And when I opened it up, I was like, I haven't even finished reading it. I read like a page or two. And then I just get pulled into the art.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I got to sit down and just read the book. I'm like super excited to read it. And it looks like this great sci-fi adventure.
I don't read stuff till months later. I'll open a book and I'll flip through it. I'll open the book and I'll flip through it. That's the way it's going to be for like the next couple of months. Then I'll finally read it.
Yeah, believe me, I have a lot of.
Oh yeah, we all every comic fan has a pile of to be read.
Yeah.
So
I have a couple, otherwise it just topple over and kill me.
Oh yeah, same here. I have a couple boxes at this point.
Yeah.
It's bad.
So
then TriStar is an artist. Yeah, TriStar is an artist who's done a bunch of work for Zenescope. He was also recommended by Murphy from Merc Magazine, and I contacted him. He's like, "Hey, yeah, this sounds like a really cool idea." He's like, "I can give you 2 covers for the same price if you want." And I was like, nice. Yes, that would be awesome.
2 for the price of 1.
So
this is gorgeous.
It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And the thing is like, so, and this is one of the things that Bill brought up recently, which is one of the things I was working on before the live stream was making the images a little bit larger. So as you get down towards the bottom, there's at least 6 of the covers that are larger, so you can get a better view of. But this cover, when it's finally printed, is gonna look gorgeous. Like, that rendering that he did on that thing is just unbelievable. And the nice thing is that he didn't just do a simple color switch or anything like that. He actually even redrew Nira's face on the spicy cover, the spicy version of the cover.
Well, I gotta say, you know what this looks like? This doesn't look like a comic cover. This looks like the cover to a video game box to me.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Like
I was trying to put my finger on that. Thanks. Yeah, exactly.
Nira,
I love
from AE.
New on PS5.
Exactly.
Hey man, I love it.
Nira PS5 thing. So then there's the Joe Mad tribute cover, which we talked about, and then the Dies cover, which is beautiful. And then there's the spicy TriStar cover, which, like I said, I mean, like her. In the standard cover, she has more of like a grimace. She's more like she's mad. In this version, she has a little bit softer look to her, almost like a come hither so I can kill you. So that was just very, very cool that he did that. In addition to
it's cool because he's got the cyber skin actually doing its thing. Actually like doing its little venom thing.
There's a few people. I'm just looking at names right now. I'm gonna have to look them up on Instagram.
They're all
and just start
unbelievable. Yeah, all of their art is just unbelievable. Which is again why I was super thrilled that everybody who I asked said yes. So then at the $40 tier we get the Bill Mouse wish list from the last Kickstarter campaign. When I was talking to him and saying, "Hey, we want to do some kind of physical rewards. What do you want?" And he said, "I've always wanted a booby mouse pad." So I was like, okay,
"I remember
Bill,
seeing.
You want a booby mouse pad? I'll get you a booby mouse pad."
Hold on, let me give you the screen. I remember seeing that, and I'm like, "That was just genius."
Yes, and it's a mouse pad.
Yes.
Get it?
It
mouse,
is.
Bill Mouse. It actually, it helps. It goes right on the wrist.
It's medical grade.
Medical grade. Yeah. It's
I'm just looking out for people out there. Tendinitis is serious, and something needs to be done about it.
So since we did that on the last campaign, Bill was like, "Okay, so we're doing another mouse pad, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." And so we decided to go do the butt. So now we have an evil near butt mouse pad.
Or an ass pad.
Yes, an ass pad. So
an ass pad.
So
man,
then the red foil
so it's
cover,
nice. So it's nice to have a set. Yeah, it's nice to have a set.
You have a set. The red foil cover at $50 is going to be extremely limited, and it's the similar image to the regular Joe Mad tribute cover, but I've raised Nira up to compensate for the negative space above her, so you actually see more of her leg and more of her butt, and all of the red costume is going to be red foil.
Oh, nice!
Which is going to be a very cool effect. I've seen it done from the printer.
That's going to be a cool. Yeah, that's going to be neat.
That's going to be, again, I might do 5 units over whatever we do in the campaign. That one is not available as an add-on, unfortunately. So, and the same thing with the TriStar Spicy, because those ones are straight up limited to the campaign. And so, like with the TriStar and the Joe Mad foil, that might end up being, like I said, maybe 10%, 5 units over whatever we order, just to compensate for damages. And obviously one for Bill and one for the Committee Comics Archives, and then maybe 2 or 3 for retail sale. Like, they're not even going to go up on the website. They're going to be essentially meet me at the next show that we're doing, probably San Diego, and we might have them there.
Yeah. Meet me in a dark alley.
Yeah.
This is just, and so you have a sketch tier.
Yeah, so we have sketch cover tiers by a variety of different artists.
Yes.
Just a lot of them are friends of mine, people who I've worked with. Todd Rayner, I've worked with. Greg Paulson, I've worked with. Andrew offered graciously to do some sketch covers, and his son Gabriel has offered to do some sketch covers as well. Again, because these are really limited, there's only like 8 to 10 spots. Those also are not available as add-ons because I couldn't figure out how to do the add-ons without sitting there hovering over it.
Oh no, they're limited to, like you said, 10 spots. That's it.
So, and then with all the sketch covers, we have a vault case, which is a CGC style case that we can actually brand ourselves, and it comes with Nira X branding on it. It's available as an add-on for any of the sketch covers, and it's sealed. So when the sketch cover is done, it's been sent back to me. I put it into the vault case. They're being provided by Fine Collectibles, Fine Comic Collectibles. A friend of mine, Russell, does all the shows. He's awesome. And then I have those security seal stickers that you can't peel off, that you have to cut. And I close them up that way. And so they're fully branded. They'll have Nira header across this, gives the date of the campaign, the dates, and who did the sketch cover and stuff like that. So it's not a CGC fully graded book, but it, again, if you have a CGC display, it'll fit perfectly in there. You'll get it a lot faster than CGC or CBCS. You'll get it in under a year.
And wait under a year.
Yeah, CGC I believe is currently the wait time is like 18 months. CBCS is probably about 11 months at this point. You will get
so if you really want to grade it, then at least you can put it in this in the meantime, and then when things kind of start calming down a little bit, then you can go ahead and send it in, and
then you can send it in, right? And then
if you want to have it on display or just have it in your collection or whatever, and decide to do what you want to do later. Yep.
So, what was I going to say? So here on the side, I didn't see it on here, but you got 2 retailer packages.
Yes,
which I think are fantastic.
Oh, whoa, telephone! I got it. Hello. Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. Bye.
No problem.
So yeah, the retailer tiers. What I did, because of the fact that I was a retailer for many years, I don't offer the retailer tiers right as we start. And people have asked me about that, and it's because, well, I don't know if we're actually going to be able to fund and actually produce the project. Once I fund, I add the retail tiers on there.
Okay.
So that way, I know we are going to press. We are going to press with X, Y, and Z. You as a retailer, you can then market this or talk to your customer base. 2 different retail tiers. One is if you've never heard of Nira X and you need some kind of catch-up thing, all the issues of Nira Reborn. And then if you were there for the second Kickstarter and got issue 1 and 2, It's just more of a variety of the covers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think I love when people do retailer tiers. I've always said this since I've started seeing them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's some people who don't, and I don't know. I want to see books in stores, and I've said this on the show before. I might have even said this to you, Bill, in past conversations. But I don't read mainstream anymore. I wish I did, but I don't find mainstream books to be entertaining. When I go to a shop, I'm looking at the indie section mostly, see what's new, see what's coming out. And by the way, the comic shop, the one I mentioned, the Spider's Web, very indie friendly.
Cool.
They have their shelves, Marvel, DC, which takes up half the store, the other half is
indie.
Is indie. So they are fantastic, very indie friendly. I also, even just in talks with them, they've told me they've started to look at Kickstarters and Indiegogo because their customers are telling them, hey, this is where, during the pandemic, nobody was able to go anywhere to stores. So they started looking, where am I going to get my comic fix? And all this stuff was coming in and whatnot. And they,
and if it's finding an audience online, you'll find an audience in the store. I mean, it's a given. It's been proven time and time again. So the other thing with the retailer tiers is there's free shipping for the retailers.
It was my bad phone.
It's there's free shipping for the retailers. I don't
awesome.
charge them for shipping. I just goes directly to them. The only catch-22 is it's only for U.S. and Canadian stores. Sorry, international guys, I can't justify a $90 shipping cost overseas. But and it has to be shipped to the store address. That is one way that I'm verifying that it's an actual physical store and not an online reseller. I appreciate online resellers, but those tiers, like you said, are designed for stores.
For brick and mortar stores. Right. We love our retailers, so it's like we want them to be a part of this circle of life, or this cycle of the way sales are done nowadays. So there's a lot of A to B, and there's a lot of going directly to the consumer, directly to the fan, and we don't want to leave stores out because we love our comic shops. It's like that we wanted them to have what they need also. And by the way, Chet, yes, that was my bat phone. My father does not understand that when I say I'm going to be online on a live stream, that maybe you shouldn't call me on the phone and yell up the stairs and ask me if the dog can come up. Because since Kat's not feeling well, she left her door open, and
Waffle
is rolling around the floor here. He's fine. He's in the studio now, so he's happy. But it's like I'm trying to answer him, and I'm just like, I've got my headphone, and my headphone's trying to disconnect from the computer, while at the same time my headphone is trying to also answer my phone. Thanks, Apple, for that confusion. I almost fell down the stairs trying to get the dog back inside the studio.
Oh my God.
There you go.
So I'm lucky to be alive. Please buy my book.
Please buy my book.
So we got a few more tiers.
Real life steps in.
Exactly. We got a few commission tiers that we make Bill dance.
From Bill. Yep.
So at 125, you get an actual just nira sketch, and then at 150, you get to pick whoever you want.
And that's your is that Zatanna?
That is Zatanna.
Yep.
Okay. So that's a previous commission that somebody asked them to do, and again, the commission concepts from the last Kickstarter that we did. I mean, those were super cool, really interesting characters. So I noticed a lot of the same names came up on this time around. Getting those ones,
which is totally cool. It's like we they're part of our family. This is like I said, we don't have fans. We have friends that support us and want to do fun things with us. So that's what it's all about, man.
So
it's
if one of
staying connected.
Our crazy fans, family, whatever, want to get drawn into the book, you can get drawn into the book.
It's 1,100, man. That
1,100. You get the artwork,
and also own the original art that comes with that book. Obviously, you get the issue that's
and
in
choice
and
of
all that
variants
good
as
stuff.
well. So yeah, I mean, again, I try to make it, unique and interesting. That is a piece that he did for San Diego one year. That is,
I had to zoom in. I love Magneto's head.
Oh yeah,
helmet. No, is that Magneto's helmet?
Where is that? I'm trying to.
I'm looking. You got Daredevil driving.
Yeah, Daredevil's driving the Batmobile.
Yeah.
First of all, that's the thing I'm most proud of, is that Daredevil is driving the car. That's the thing I'm most proud of in this whole piece.
Yeah. So
you got Cap's shield.
Yep.
That's Charlie Brown in a basket, it looks like.
In a baby pram.
Yeah.
Yep.
Batman.
Adam West.
Yeah. There's Gandalf.
Yeah. My origins are Crack magazine related. Looking at John Severin's work, and so Mad Magazine would do these all the time too. But they would have like a big picture with just like all this stuff. You just spot
weird
little things. Like every time you look at it, you'd find like something a little bit different.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so those kind of pieces are always fun to try and put together.
I did a piece like that. Oh God, I don't know how many years ago. It was for a small press company. My friend wrote the story, and the guy narrating the story. Oh, Chet says that's him stuffed in the passenger seat.
It is. Chet's in the passenger seat of the Batmobile.
The Batmobile being driven by Daredevil. Yeah. Good job there.
Yes.
I did. Like I was saying, I did a piece like this years ago, and it was only in 2 panels. It was the opening narration and the closing narration, and the guy was supposed to be just this hoarder of like comic memorabilia. So he was like, just throw stuff in.
Everything, yeah.
So I'm like, this is going to be, those were the 2 most fun panels I got to draw. But then I had to, after I drew everything, I'm like, where do I put them? Do I keep them in the same spot? Do I redraw everything again? Or do I change them a little bit and get to add more stuff? It's like, so I have a lot of fun. And Mad Magazine and Crack Magazine, they were like big part of my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mad. I got introduced to. I've said this online before, so I don't mind saying it. I have my medical issues. I've had 2 kidney transplants, all this stuff in my life. But when I was 8 years old, that's when they discovered I had my kidney disease, and I spent a week in the hospital getting all these tests and all this stuff. And my dad worked as a guidance counselor, and the secretaries in the office got together and gave him some things. And one of the things I got in there was a Mad magazine.
Oh,
and
sweet. Yeah,
I was like, oh my God. And that's how I fell in love with Sergio's work. And Sergio became my all-time favorite cartoonist. And then I started following, I read Gru, I did all that stuff. But you're looking at all those artists that are great. And then a few years later, I'm in a store. I want to say maybe by the time I was 13, I was in a store and I saw Cracked, and I'm like, what is this? And I was like,
bizarre.
I still have like 3 or 4 of my Cracked magazines from my childhood.
For sure, dude.
Oh my God, they were so good.
Yeah,
so
I've got.
Good.
I again, same memories. Just growing up, my grandparents had Mad magazines. Yep, there you go, Cracked magazine. There you go.
It's actually in the magazine rack of my desk.
I think, if I go look in one of my, I think I put it away, but I have a Cracked, and it was like, I think like a Cracked look at superheroes or something.
Oh yeah.
And
done those a couple times.
And I forgot who the inker
Suburban
was.
Man.
Oh God, who was the inker on that? Was it Giordano, maybe?
Possibly.
And
he did a bunch of work.
I remember I bought the copy from him specifically. I used to own it as a kid, but he had it at a show.
Nice.
And I didn't have it anymore. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I got an autographed copy, like on the cover. I think he inked the cover or something. So
that's awesome.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Now some silliness there. So you can drawn into the book. And then there's the retailers.
The retailers you added in.
Yeah, the visual graphics.
Which screen am I on here? Hold on.
Yeah.
Wrong screen. All right.
And then
buddy.
And then these are the add-ons.
And those are the add-ons. Yep. So you can get the PDF of the Ground Zero. You can get the actual Ground Zero itself. You can get all those individual.
Now remember, the more you add on, the better quality food I can get for this little guy. I'm gonna use to him to pedal my.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, nope.
Sorry,
Nope,
I lost him accidentally. I meant to give you the full screen.
There you go.
There you go.
Here's Mr. Waffle. Here's Mr. Waffle.
That's adorable.
Oh.
I don't let
He's a
my
good
cat
boy.
in the studio when I'm online.
I didn't actually have my dog in the studio until
just
the phone and the door swung open, and I basically have my my Navy retired father downstairs going, "Hey, can you come upstairs?" I'm like, "All right."
There you go.
And now you know why my studio is completely separate from the house.
Yeah,
so
no,
the $30 nude add-on was something that took the campaign by storm. So what we did is,
I totally missed that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So since we had the issue 2 nude cover from the previous campaign, and we had the issue 3 nude cover, I was going to offer a nude set, but just issue 1, issue 2, and issue 3. Issue 2 and 3 were nude, and the little tagline was 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And then I was talking to Bill, and I was like, "Do you want to just do a nude variant for issue 1?" And he's like, "Sure." So we put that tier up there.
It needs to be a set.
Yeah, 20 units sold out, gone in minutes. And I was like, "All right, you perverts, I love you all." So we did it as an actual add-on, and that's the price that it'll be at shows and also at the on the online store. So
cool.
Yeah.
And I love that you can get both mouse pads.
Yep.
That cracks me up. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
Bill, this was the most genius idea I've ever seen for a mouse pad.
So yeah, I mean, again, it was one of those things that Bill said back in the '90s when he was doing the book. Doing manufacturing was not cheap.
It was on my bucket list. I could never find a printer and all the. So I needed Tom to find somebody. He knows people.
I know people.
That's
so actually, you might have to refresh the screen because I changed out some of the graphics to where you see all the stuff that's unlocked as the stretch goals as one. I think I hit save. Let me double check. Yep, I hit save. So
let
scroll
me
down now.
So the add-ons.
Scroll down. Scroll down, and then it should be. Oh, I put it on top. Sorry. So basically, we unlocked a whole bunch of stuff. So if you pledge any kind of physical tier, you get a buttload of stuff already. So you're getting metal bookmarks.
Oh yeah, there's lots of stuff unlocked already.
Buttons,
yeah.
PDFs.
Right here.
So there you go. Like that's literally the plethora of stuff. You get a sticker, you get a sticker sheet, you get a Cyber Angel bookmark, which has been upgraded to metal. You get a 2 different buttons, which I created by hand, literally by hand.
Slices, dices, and julienne's fries.
That's right. You get the funded print artwork, which was done by Rich Parada on our launch live stream. He was literally sitting there while we were watching the numbers go up, and he was just drawing Nira. And then he's worked at Marvel for many, many years, and he does his own independent stuff now. And then it's being colored currently by Wilson Ramos, who colored Deadpool, Thor, a bunch of stuff from Marvel. He was on staff for Marvel for about 15 years, if not longer. So that's going to have that image on the front, and then all the backers, a big thank you to all the backers on the back.
That's nice.
Yeah. And so that's something that we did on the previous campaign, which was just fun. Just something, interesting to do.
Yeah, it's good to do. Yeah, for sure.
It's really great stuff here. Yeah, I mean, you guys put together a lot. You have, and not just what Bill's done, but the people you've got outside involved.
Oh, the people involved in it, like you said, it's a fantastic group of people. And it brings in a lot of different styles. It brings in a lot of different odds. It's really great. I'm very, very pleased with how everything's come together.
Yeah, and again, what was really impressive and made me very happy was that all this was done with 0 to no conventions to where I could go talk to other artists. So literally was just trying to reach through. I mean, like we've already started planning for the next miniseries tier, and I've already got 3 cover artists that are phenomenal. That's going to blow out people's brains when they see them. And I'm super excited about that. But so if you scroll all the way back down to the bottom, you get larger images of some of the covers. I'm going to put all the covers up there. I just didn't get a chance to do so.
All right. No, not here.
Keep going all the way past the add-ons, and then you see the stretch goals that we have left. And then, bam, there's some larger of the images. So this morning, we unlocked an add-on to where you can get any of the variant covers for issue 3 as no trade dress, or AKA virgin covers, or all art covers, however you want to phrase it.
Right.
And so that's what I did, is I kind of did and I've got to add some more on there. So all the different ones. And then these ones are unfortunately all sold out.
Oh, wow.
which is great. So we had a series collection, which we get issue 2, the limited edition Kickstarter signed version of issue 2. You get the limited edition Kickstarter print by artwork by Bill McKay. Then the $30 variant collection, which was sold out, was the variants. So you got Cat's variant from issue 2, Lena's variant from issue 3, and the regular issue 1. And then the nude, like I mentioned. And then those ones got blown out within minutes.
Now remember, since the set is gone, because we were limited by how many number 2s we actually still had left.
Yeah.
But if somebody wanted to get the number 1 nude edition, that could still be an add-on. You could still add that onto your tier. So if you missed out on the set, if you missed out on the set, you still didn't miss out on at least getting the number 1.
Yeah, that was added. That was on the add-ons you said up here.
That was on the add-ons. Yes. And then issue 2 is available in the Committed Comics online store. So if you missed out and you did really want a full nude set, you can go to the Committed Comics store and you can buy it. It's just, again, it's one of those kind of things that I don't want to pour everything into one section. I want to have things that are exclusive to the online store. I want to have things that are exclusive or limited to Kickstarter. I want to have things that are limited, exclusive to conventions. I want to have because of the fact that, again, much like we were talking before, I look at different revenue streams in different areas, and I've got some people who order the retailer packet. Retailers who order that. I'm going to throw in some special stuff. You're going to get some surprises in your package. Just saying.
Let me ask you here. I'm looking the $15 Ground Zero. This is the whole book.
So that's the whole book. Yeah, the whole book, but it's a PDF of it. So it's a digital,
PDF of it. But the $5 one was the 12 or 14 page book, right?
The $5 one is just the digital add-ons. So if you want the digital add-ons, just do $5 and you get all the digital stretch goals. So the preview book that I was talking about before is one of the stretch goals. So you have to either buy one of the PDF things or add the $5 on there.
I just wanted to make sure. I was a little confused.
The worst part is the worst part is that there's been a couple of times where I've put stuff out there either in an update or a post and I'm not as clear as I could be. So that people are like, "Oh, what the hell are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, need more coffee."
And this one here's the hard copy on for 30.
So that's the physical. That's literally one of the copies that I'm holding. You get to sit here, hit yourself in the head with it. You can get Bill to sign it for you. There's actually some really cool additional artwork in the back by some other artists. Was it Conroy and was it Aldelso, who doesn't draw like this anymore? Yeah, it's just so weird to see this piece.
Right. Yeah, Adelso Corona's piece is really cool. Yeah, and the digital piece that Conrad Rudy was the artist on that digital piece. Yeah. Talk about looking like a video game character. They look like an old school
Hold
Xbox.
on, let me give you the screen on that. What screen am I on?
Yeah, let me see.
Oh wow.
Like this is like back in the 90s, this was video games. So
that's it.
Yeah,
it's really cool that we've gotten quite a collection of different artists over the years to actually do their take on Nira X. So it's at some point we're going to have a between the covers special edition.
Well,
it just collects up as much as we can collect up.
But I was going to say, actually, that's one of the stretch goals on the digital tier is a digital cover gallery. So
which is great for the digital.
What we're putting in there yet, but it's going to have probably about 30 covers or cover images.
Oh, yeah.
In there. Yeah. It's one of those things I probably should start designing soon. I'm just saying. Look, I'm trying to run the campaign, okay? People, leave me alone. Jesus.
I know.
But yeah, so we have a whole bunch of stuff. And this is one of the things that thankfully I'm very happy, especially with the last campaign, and I feel also with this campaign, is that I am first and foremost a fan of comics. I am a comic book fan through and through. Behind me, I have literally artwork and comics and spinner rack in my house, for God's sakes. So when I'm sending out these packages, I want people to open them up and be like, "Holy cow, there's a lot of stuff in here. This is really cool." And thankfully, every single post I've seen online or people email me or the campaign, they're like, "Holy cow, there's a lot of stuff in here." because of the fact that, that's what I want to do. And when I open it up, that was one of the reasons, like the foil sticker that we did for the second campaign. I think that was almost a 5-inch foil sticker. It was giant.
Yeah, it was great. It was a really good size.
The Bun
it was a really
sticker
good
that we're
size.
doing now, the cartoony character that Bun did for the sticker, that's gonna be 4.5 inches tall, 3.5 inches wide.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a big ass sticker. Why? Because I want you to be able to put that in your car.
No, people are supporting us in such a huge way.
Yeah.
And the least we could do is make it feel like it's Christmas when it arrives to your house. It's like not just so. Yeah, Tom, you're putting in a lot of extra love, a lot of TLC on top of those packages to make it feels more like Christmas when you open up a lot of surprises.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, again, it's mostly because of the fact that like I said, this is what I would want to open up and see. The different stretch goals and the extra stuff and I want to feel like I'm a part of it. So I do want a print that has my name on the back of it with everybody else who contributed to the campaign.
Yeah.
And it lends itself to the fact that these are event situations. These are things where it's like, oh, we're doing this for 30 days. This is an event thing. This is, we're not just, putting out like the weekly book, that sort of thing. And it feels a little bit more special, feels a little bit more like we're actually doing something together, like we're actually being interactive. And that's double important right now. Considering the plague that is amongst us, keeping us in our homes. But even when things normalize, I think this is going to be, because this is such a fun way for us. There are so many creators that I've spent a lot more time with online because we're doing live streams together now than I have when we were only doing shows. So I think this will be something that when shows come back in full force, which I totally see that they are. This is going to be an element that continues, and
I think so. But I also
ties
think
everybody together.
with the crowdfunding elements, I think what's going to end up happening, not to sound like a negative Nelly, but I think a lot of people are going to bail out once the world opens back up a little bit more. I think a lot of people are doing it because of the fact that this is their only outlet. When they have conventions like the people who do a lot of the fan art, they've had to do something. So they've done maybe some Kickstarters or maybe some, Indiegogo stuff or maybe some online stores, and they don't have the same level of return on that as much as they would like.
I can see what you're saying, but I think there's enough room for enough room for all of it to.
There's room for everybody, and again, I think it's great. Whatever we want to do, go out and do it. Like I'm all for it, but.
Because I think even when we're doing like a whole bunch of shows every single year again, and selling at shows and doing things direct market, selling to stores directly, blah blah blah, catalog, start doing Diamond again and all that good stuff. I think this will just be another element. It's just going to be another element. It just won't be such, because right now it's got flashing lights on it because this is like this is what we're doing because we're not allowed to do anything else. Whereas this will be just one of the normal things that is just a part of the cycle, part of the infrastructure or whatever,
Well, that's actually a question, maybe almost an entire show we can speak on, because
it's a lot.
I will say I do have a few opinions on cons. Honestly, I'm picking cons very carefully. I almost didn't do the one in Massachusetts, but I really been wanting to do that show for a couple of years. They had a spot for me, and so I decided to do it. But I haven't really done a con, I've only walked like 2 shows. Since the pandemic, I've only done 1 show.
So I've actually, much like a lot of the people who I know who are in the con circuit and stuff like that, I need those shows. So as soon as they started happening, I mean, I already fly all over the country for shows for Committee Comics. Like I'm I'll go to Baltimore, I'll go to California, I'll go to Texas, I go up to Vancouver, like all over the place. So in 2021, I did Tampa, Kansas City, Seattle, San Diego. It's basically whatever shows had a large enough attendance and were opening up, I would do them. Because of the fact that I'm an independent company, not everybody knows who I am, and I don't have $1 billion to spend on TV and marketing and television marketing. I have to make sure that there's people through the door. I work on a percentage basis, And so, but yeah, I mean, in April I've got Planet Comic Con in Kansas City again, and I'm super excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a super independent friendly show,
Yeah,
and
that's how I sell a lot of my original artwork. Usually goes at shows. I think I've got like 7 different shows for this year.
Yeah,
which I'm a little surprised that I've got that many. There's 4 of them that I'm confirmed, but there's probably like 3 or 4 on top of that they're just not registering yet, and it's just not part of the cycle yet because they're later on in the year.
Yeah.
But San Diego, got to do San Diego. I'll be at an Incredible Con in Charleston, South Carolina. I'll be there in September. Fredericksburg in July, and Tidewater Comic Con in Virginia Beach. I'll be doing that in May.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure I'm glad that shows are starting to open up again.
Yeah,
it's something like Tom. I need it. It's like I need that interaction.
See, I don't know. Like me personally, I'm because I'm usually running kids sections. I'm kind of like, oh, I have a break from being around. Yeah, because my section usually becomes this is the babysitting section almost, where it's like we're gonna drop. You're doing a workshop, cool. We're putting the kid right there. When there's no workshops going on, oh, there's tables. Let's sit down and eat. And we're like, no, those are for
coloring. Those are for explaining
for
comics
doing things.
And,
I mean. When I don't,
I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side of the room drawing Jawas, drinking 6-packs.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
But the thing is, like when I'm doing a kids section, I don't usually sell my own stuff. When I go to Artist Alley,
right.
When I'm going,
it's a different. You're wearing a different hat. Yeah,
exactly. Artist Alley, I sell in. Kids sections, I don't.
You work, right?
I work.
Right.
I work.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's nice. So for me, when I'm running a kids section, my fun time comes afterwards. I go see my friends. We go out to dinner, that type of stuff.
Right,
but when I'm in Artist Alley and I'm selling, and I'm drawing and I'm talking with other, just artists
creators
around me.
Yeah,
it's just it's a different feel. It's a nice time. Like I miss Artist Alley over kids sections. That's what
of course.
But I've been doing kids sections
because that's for you. It's like when you're doing kids sections, you're not doing that for you. You're doing that for them.
Yeah.
You're giving of yourself.
Service to the show.
Yeah, you're giving of yourself. That's which is awesome, by the way, that you do that. But you are giving of yourself.
Yeah. Incredibly tiring. The last 3 shows
it's got to be exhausting. Yeah,
I've done doing those type. I've like by day 2 or middle of day 2, I need to start drinking tea because I'm losing my voice, and it's, it's just bad.
You're a single parent with 40 kids, so you're tired. You're tired at that point.
So like I'm looking forward to this show. The Northeast Comic Con, you guys. As a reminder for those, because we're going to wrap up in a moment.
Oh, yeah. And everyone should go to that show and see Michael. Go bug him.
Yeah. Come on up.
Absolutely.
Go sit down at his table.
They just had a chef on here who's going to be there. I'd have to scroll through. I don't know when it's going to come up again, but he's known as the barbecue chef. And when they asked me, when they asked me about panels, he was one of the people I wanted to talk to. I didn't get a panel with him though. Because I love, like I said, culinary was your second choice. Yeah. So like I love to cook, and like I could have had so much fun just talking about barbecue. You know
what I'm going to do right after we get offline.
Oh, these guys on the screen. The one
we started with food and we're ending with food. You guys are
hold on. These two that are right here.
Okay, the plumage.
These two, they're a husband and wife. They're the ones I'm doing the fantasy panel with.
Did Bob draw the Godzilla book, or did he write it?
Honestly, I have no clue about anything on them. I don't know much about them, but I love fantasy art.
You're gonna learn them. You're gonna learn it.
So I want to reach out to them on social media. I've reached out to a couple people I'm doing panels with, and I like them. I like to do my research. Tell me, what do you guys want to talk about? What's going to stick out that you want me to focus on? Just like when I prep, like I kind of have a routine now. Yeah. I didn't write it to you guys, but Bill's been on. That's why it's just like, hey, he knows what I relaxed. Do. Yeah. But other people, I'm just like, this is kind of my breakdown of how I run my show and doing stuff.
But yeah, no, I saw
they have
you were going to interview or do a panel with Keith Williams, and he's a super nice guy.
Oh, Keith, he's been on the show. I love Keith.
I met him. He's awesome. You know,
I met him in 2001. There was a show in Westchester, New York, and I was doing a lot of parody art at the time.
Not the All-Star Classic, was it?
No. It was. I don't remember the name of it.
Because Committed Comics did that show, which was over Father's Day weekend, and it was, in terms of attendance, a disaster.
No. We're going back years, like I said, 2000, like 2000.
Yeah, no, that's what. That's what this one.
Oh, that's what it was. And,
it was in the Westchester County Center.
It was at the county center. Yeah.
Yeah. So that might have been the second one they had there, because they had a second one there.
Oh,
this was the first one they had there, and it was so funny because half they overbooked the room. There was nothing really going on. To the point where I had so many Committed Comics people out there, because I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than it was, to where we literally just took up one side of the room.
Oh, really?
They just started giving us our own tables.
So it was pretty busy, at least where I was. So I don't remember the name of I don't remember anything except I remember I was next to a company. I don't remember the company's name. I don't think they do comics anymore, but I became friends with the publisher. Nice guy. Almost got some work out of him, but it didn't happen. But when I was walking the show, at the end of my row was Keith Williams, and he had Phantom pieces. And the movie, I think, just came out or was out for a year or so before this. And I'm like literally for me, it's like the Phantom, Zorro, like classic things like that. Those are like my favorite characters.
The National Syndicate characters.
What?
The National Syndicate. That was the newspaper strips. Yeah. And I'm more of a strip artist. I've always saw myself as than like a book artist. Yeah.
So a lot of my influences come out of comic strips. So like when I look at like, more serious stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Kurt Swan fan who did Superman back then. But I'm looking at Alex Raymond. I'm looking at Hal Foster. I'm looking at those story artists, Lee Falk. So like I loved Phantom. And when I met Keith, I'm like, oh my God. And we just talked.
Yeah.
When he wasn't busy about the Phantom. And I had a Phantom parody piece I did. And I just had, it was like a Phantom strip. I did, I don't remember the strip now. It was just one, it was a single panel gag where the Phantom was in it. And I gave him a copy. I don't even know if he probably tossed it by now, but I probably tossed it as I left the table. But
no, I don't think so.
But he was just and every now and then I see him at shows, and I had to bring him on the show. So like I reached out to him, and he was just so good about what I asked. He was like, "Listen, he basically said, ask me anything, and I'll be as honest as I can be about." I'm like, dude, you know how much I'm a fan of not just you, but of the Phantom.
And he's got a body of work that he's one of those guys that's just been just never stopped working. Even if he wasn't in the limelight, he was always working.
Yeah. No, he's fantastic. So I got some good stuff coming in. Anything else just real quick to pitch for myself? I don't remember what my other workshop is right now. I have to look.
There's the chef that you're talking about. If you go back one.
The what?
If you go back one, it's the chef.
Oh, the chef, yeah. And he was on the Next Level Chef.
Oh, Next Level Chef. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the barbecue, the BBQ chef, I was like, my God, I want to talk to him. So he's since I can't do a panel with him, I'm going off to look for him specifically.
I'm sure he's gonna have a table. I'm sure he's probably selling recipes. I'm sure he's got a cookbook he's selling.
There's a chance I'll pick it up. Man.
That's I love when shows. It's frowned upon in some circles, but I like it when shows go out of their comfort zone and bring in slightly different people. I'm not a huge fan when shows go over the top and start giving those oddball people a little bit more of a spotlight. Like that, I'm not a fan of. But I think it is cool to have someone like the chef there, or like having a couple of the YouTube stars. But then you had companies like Wizard when they were doing shows, and they would dedicate an entire section of the floor to these guys. And I'm like, no one's going to see them in this context. Like, that's the thing. Like, they're very popular.
Right.
If you were to do a social media
too far outside the box,
Right. And so...
Yeah. I remember doing a show, and this is going back, I want to say late 90s, maybe. late 90s, early 2000s. It was in New York City, and across from me, so I was, in this, I thought it was like supposed to be a small press section, but it was just me and my friend at this one table. The other, the next side of us were like people, these girls selling like Renaissance clothing and all this stuff.
Oh, like the
and
stuff.
Yeah, and then across from us were 3 playmates from like the 80s. And I'm like, but then you walk down super far, and that's where you find Artist Alley. I'm like, why am I not in Artist Alley? And
that's one of the reasons why I learned very early on, I never go into small press tiers. Because what they do is they use that as conventions, use that as filler unjustly. They use it as filler wherever they have an empty row of 3 tables. That's their small press section.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's total garbage. And that's one of the reasons why.
And I'm sitting right next to the spatula salesman.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's like, I don't care about getting my gutters, chromed or whatever. Like, I don't want those people at my show. I don't want to be next to them. So, but yeah, no, I actually grew up in New York as well. And so I've been to all of those shows back in the early 90s and that kind of stuff. I did the whole Penta Hotel shows and,
I did those.
I did a GlamourCon once.
Yeah,
GlamourCon was very, very interesting. Yeah, I was like, I was the odd man out. I was like, what's this comic book guy doing in the middle of all these playmates? What's going on here? I sat next to Apollonia.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm not even joking about that. You can ask people. It's not a big bragging mark, but it's an interesting tidbit of information.
What are you talking about? I went to Paisley Park. And they talked about Apollonia there. So
like, I got purified in the waters of LA because that's where the show was in Anaheim. I was nowhere near Minnesota, so
the one thing I will say that was good about the show that I was just mentioned, it was the show where I met Warwick Davis. Thought I was like, this guy was so cool. We shared an elevator together.
Yeah.
And like as we were closing up, he was like, how was the show for you? And I'm like, that was okay. And I'm like, he was good. Like, he was just such a nice guy. And he was there with his family. Yeah. And like, I didn't want to freak him out. I'm just like, I'm a big fan because I was Willow was one of my favorite movies.
Again,
but in my head, all I want to do, I was just thinking like, I'm in the elevator with Willow. I was just so like geeking out in my head and just trying to be professional.
Right. Yeah.
And he was just like,
I've had a couple. I've had a couple of those moments over time. I had that when I met Jim Shooter for the first time, and Jim Shooter was a huge influence and hero of mine. And I was actually lucky because, and you might remember this show, Michael, is at the Javits Center. It was the Dynamic Forces show back in like '98 during the snowstorm, the blizzard.
It sounds very familiar to me.
Shut down New York and. Nobody can make it to the show, and me and my friend, since I'm a stupid comic book fan from Westchester County, I took the Metro North train walked from Grand Central to the Javits Center. And anybody
who's been blistering cold,
anybody who's been to New York Comic Con knows how far away those two things are now. I did that in 3 feet of snow. Got there. The only people who were essentially in the entire con were the guests for the show who were in the hotel across the street. There was next to no attendees.
Wow.
They didn't bother to cancel the show for some stupid reason. They were just like, screw it. We've already paid $18 billion to the mob for the Javits Center. Screw it. And again, this was back in the day, so it wasn't even the full Javits Center. It was just a section of the Javits Center. I got to sit there and talk to Shooter for about 2.5 hours uninterrupted. We were just sitting there talking about Broadway comics, about Valiant, about Defiant. Defiant was my jam. That was my favorite era of comic books. As ridiculous as that is, to me, that just had the most passion time frame. Outside of like the '60s and the '40s and that kind of stuff. Modern day comics, Defiance. To me was just those were just 7 guys and girls who loved the industry, even though everyone told them you're gonna fail, and eventually they did fail. Even they didn't care. They were like, no, this is what we want to do. We need to do this. And then he met Lorne Michaels and got billions of dollars and did Broadway comics. But yeah, it's
the
New York
good
show.
Times, good times.
Yep. So good old Fred Greenberg.
Well, let's see where the campaign is at. I think
let's close it out with the campaign and then pizza.
Yeah.
And then,
it's 15087. Yeah, I graduated in 87. There you go. That's a good number. So hopefully we'll start making our way towards 16. That would be awesome if we can unlock another stretch goal before too long. That would be awesome.
Yeah, well, that'd be awesome for you. That just puts a lot of logistics on me. No, that's where the the 1600 stretch goal is the 9-card trading card set for the cover gallery, which is what we did on issue 2. And that was a lot of logistics, and I wanted to kill everybody. But so if you want to see Tom lose his mind again, pledge heavily so we can hit 16. So
That's
I can
it.
yell at all the artists consistently for a week straight. All right, I'm just saying.
We'll get him some designer pie at a shop later on.
There you go.
Well, I'm very happy to say, you were under 15 when the show started. We're now a little over 2 hours, and you got a few. I'm hoping they came from here.
Hey,
So, you guys,
we appreciate you.
Yeah, thank
we
you.
Do,
Listen,
we do. We don't exist without you guys. So
yeah.
So Nira X's adventures don't exist without any of those people actually supporting. So this is awesome.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on. If you want to hang out in the green room for a moment while I do my closing, but seriously, you guys, I like I said, I didn't know much about your character. I've known your art. I've known you for your art, Bill. And now that I know so much more, I've been sitting here, like I said, fighting the urge to just draw.
Well, that was how we ended up with the print. The funded print is because on the live stream, Rich Parada was just like, I need to draw something as we're talking about all the coolness.
Well,
and he did that piece for us.
I have a feeling tomorrow my warm-up drawing is going to be Nira. Just for fun.
Awesome.
I'll have to send it to you when I'm done with it.
You honor me, good sir.
There you
go. But yeah, I thank you guys for coming on. I really did have a blast.
Thank you.
Yeah,
dude, I'm glad that we could do this. Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime. You guys are both welcome. I mean, you guys know that. I haven't done a show this long in a very long time.
We babble. We're good like that.
No, listen.
I know we tend to ramble.
No, I had a lot of fun. If If I was like, no, we got to stick to this, and I'd be like, no, we got to hurry up. We got to hurry. No, this was, dude. I had so much fun tonight with both of you guys.
Good.
Absolutely.
Tom.
That makes my day. So that's good. That's good.
It's a pleasure just meeting you.
Yeah.
Tonight, I'm glad you and Bill connected and got this project off the ground together. I mean,
I had to beat him a little bit, but he'll get the pages done.
As long as he funds my life and gives me occasional bags of Cheetos, we'll keep on doing it.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks again for coming on. I'm going to drop you backstage and do my closing. I'll see you guys in a moment.
Yep.
All right. You bet.
All right, guys. So that was a really, really fun show for me. You guys saw it. Hopefully watch the whole thing straight through. If not, go back and watch what you missed. But most importantly, go back this project. The Kickstarter, everything was there, posted in the link for this show. I'm gonna throw it in the comments real quick for you guys, which I should have done earlier, but I didn't because I wasn't thinking. I was having too much of a good time. So now it's here in the comment, and everything that you need to get in touch with them is running below. BillMouse.com, CatMouse.com. It's moving too fast for me. So Committed, EIC, I believe it is, and Committed as it comes by again. Or I have EI. If it's EIC, I apologize. I might have. And Committed Comics on Twitter, you guys. So go follow them. Next week, I just had to look up the names to make sure, but we're going with Big Bang Comics. We're going to have Gary Carlson and Chris Ecker, the two guys who are Big Bang Comics, and we're going to talk to them about all their books, their career. Well, not every single book. They've done a lot, but, the stuff they're doing now, how they got started, it'll be a blast. So you guys tune in next Tuesday for that. And I'll see you guys later. Have a great night, weekend, whenever you're watching. All right. Bye, guys.